Gus, what happened to you?
Just drank a lot of sour foam.
Okay. Oh, I hope you have a
Keep talking.
Wank.
Wank.
It's like you can't sneeze with your eyes open.
No, I can't wank with my eyes open.
Some fucking duck. Boob shot.
Boob shot.
So
Yeah, that's hot.
There's a bit of nip.
cheeky little nip.
Finishes off.
After the show.
I would put a granny in my mouth every day of the week. Come on.
I think it's a septagon. You've created a new shape.
Have you ever thought about wearing it in other situations?
There's no other need that you would just need these. You know what I mean?
Yes, well done, Steph. You tried to grow rhubarb?
Can it be done?
Can I? Gus, anything to say?
Oh, save it for next week. Clever thinking. Nipple.
Welcome for Thursday, the 19th of May, coming at you live from the Loki Studios, starring Stephanie Bendixson. Scotty's there too. It's Peter Burns.
I'm here too.
It's Gus Reynolds. And it's Nick by Richardson. And tonight on the show, Peglin, Umarangi, and Beatstar, collectively known as the Evil Dead. We've been hunting these three across the Chaos Gate for years.
Ooh, chaos.
The Chaos Gate would be great.
Yeah.
But tonight, they're ours. So pack your Warhammers and your Shotgun Kings, because it's 10 minutes till dawn, and they always run.
Oh, good.
It's pretty good except for the Chaos line.
I don't know. Chaos is a great term.
Chaos was a great twist to this story.
I
Fantastic.
do it all the time. Anything that starts with C-A, I always end up saying gay, and it just puts a fun spin on things.
Yep. Like your two Gaets, your cats.
What? Oh, well, actually.
One of them is dead, Nick.
Oh, that was chaotic.
That is the opposite of chaotic.
Yeah, true.
That is the opposite end of the spectrum of chaotic.
Some traditional old chaos for you here.
This has been a great start, hasn't it?
I think it's going to be our worst episode yet.
Gus, what trauma have you recently experienced the last 12 months?
Oh, God, you name it, I've had it.
Okay.
I do like the idea of having chaotic energy, though.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
a thing in the scene?
It is now.
Yeah, we started it.
Big time. Welcome, everybody. I think a lot of our audience is chaotic. I would say that they self-identify as chaotic.
I'm assuming that this is a thing that we've just invented, but I'm sure it exists.
Yeah.
I'm sure chaotic is out there already. It has a Twitch channel.
It's a
Yeah.
Twitch
I was going to
channel.
say, it's,
Representing the community.
Yeah.
if there's something fun to brand, like, it would definitely exist like that, I think.
For
yeah.
sure.
I remember discovering there was a, yes,
For Daddy?
Yes, for
Thank you
Daddy.
very much. Oh.
I remember there was a thread when I started a Good Game called Gamers, and it was spelt G-A-Y-E-R-M, the G-A-Y-E-R-M. And there was a lot of comments about me debuting on television. I was flattered. It was delightful.
Germ.
G-A-Y-E-R.
G-A-Y-M.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I went to the Gamers Expo. There was a full expo.
Oh, okay. Well, this was in like 2010 or something.
Oh yeah,
so I
because
think
you were a gamer first.
yes, apparently.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool. Channeling some chaotic energy.
Lots of people are very excited about this. Someone said, "Let's claim chaotic energy," and that was Snail. Yeah. So that's good. I like what we did here. I like how we've pivoted away from the dead cat discussion.
But you just brought it back.
into something a lot more wholesome. How is everybody doing?
Good.
Gus, tell me something about your life.
I don't have a toilet still.
How is the sink?
Being cleaned regularly.
Yeah, good.
No, I come to work to use the bathroom here.
What grade steel
I'm
will
still
you
renovating
use?
I'm still renovating a bathroom, which felt like a grown-up thing to do, but I'm very quickly discovering it's causing me a lot of headaches and pain, which is a grown-up thing, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
How
it's
many weeks has it been?
3.5.
That's a
Yeah,
long time.
And I got another week till I get my toilet.
What?
My throne.
What have you done
Hey,
to delay this?
Nothing.
I'll tell you what he's done.
Honestly, I've been
give me
polite.
give me my
That's
single.
question.
His song choice for the tradies is too good.
They love
distracted
Close them
much.
down.
Yeah.
They're like
singing.
Cold Chisel, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're like, they come here just for the playlist. They
Have
get
we
the-
spoken about that on the show?
No, we haven't.
okay.
He crafts his playlist based on what he thinks tradies will like.
Yeah.
And then I
So
play
it's
it while
like
I work.
Cold Chisel.
Yeah.
So in touch with the common man.
I am.
But-
But I play that and I'm like, this is the music that I appreciate today.
But he then also, and this sounds creepy because it is, sends us videos of the tradies.
Yeah, that was
So
And one of them, they were singing "My Heart Will Go On."
it was amazing. I put on music if they don't have any, but these tradies turned up and they have the coolest thing ever. I've seen them before, but they're massive toolboxes that have Bluetooth radios in them as well. So it's a huge toolbox that's like super heavy duty, and then it has speakers at the front and they can Bluetooth their phones to it. So it's like you turn up on your site and you can pop it down and crank tunes while you work. These guys turned up and they had that. I was like, great, no need for the Gus curated tradie playlist. And they proceeded to plumb my bathroom while listening to a mix of songs that included, but not that had NSYNC, I Want It That Way.
Great song.
And you just cannot help not singing to it. So, sorry, Backstreet Boys. They had that, and then I was like, they were singing parts of it, and everyone knows all the words to it. And then My Heart Will Go On came on, and these two burly plumbers proceeded to try and hit the notes. And I was in the other room working. I just filmed the audio. And
One
sent it
day
to
they're
you
going to
guys.
walk into your room and you have a camera.
I can hear them coming. They're singing.
I had an encounter with a
I
group.
just want to call out Spice.
I had an encounter with. Oh, sorry.
Just before it disappears. Gus, what was it like flying choppers in Nam for the CIA?
Oh, man.
Great.
This is my Charlie Day jacket.
I was
Thank you
gonna
very
say
much.
you look a bit.
Chaotic.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm a little Zodiac, a little...
Yeah.
Not the killer. Don't do it.
Well, then what else?
The fucking astrological...
The people who were trying to work
the Mark
case
Ruffalo
out.
in the film.
Yeah, the Ruffalos and Jake Gyllenhaal.
They were journalists. You say it's a little bit journalist, not a little bit Zodiac, because he hasn't been caught, and it could be you.
Where were you born?
God. I was going to say I had an encounter with a group of youths
Oh,
the other
really?
day where
Oh,
I was
wow.
leaving the shopping center and I was in the parking lot and I was getting into my car and they were in like an SUV with the windows rolled down,
Oh, shit,
as
yeah.
youths often are.
Yeah.
And they were, kind of like early to mid 20s, wearing like dark colors, and they were like, and they had the windows rolled down, and they were blasting "Friend Like Me" from Aladdin,
Wow. The original or the Will Smith version?
the original.
Good on them.
And I kind of was like,
Connoisseur of it.
I sort of took in the scene and then was kind of like scooched in between so that I could get into my car. And then I had the door open and I was like, great song. And then they just all clocked me and didn't crack a smile or anything.
What?
And I just like shut the door and I was like,
Oh,
Not a friend like you, apparently.
That was such a the great song choice is such a I'm with it, I'm hip line.
but that's
You just
from
got to
your-
bust out into the song. And then they're like,
Yeah.
what the shit?
yeah.
What the
they're
shit?
youths.
This
Can
stuff
no
is
friends do
lit.
this?
Ladies
Din, din,
crazy.
din. Can no friends
You guys
do
have
You can
you guys have great drip.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
I love the idea as well. That song does not start subtly, so it's like getting into your car in a car park
No,
at
it's like,
night.
So true.
And they're all sitting there vaping going, yeah.
That is my go-to when I want to describe to someone the joys of musical theatre. It's that wah wah wah. It's that
I wonder if maybe I'd caught them and they just had a really serious conversation about someone like their dead cat or something that had been brought up unceremoniously
bring
in
that
a
up.
conversation. And the song
maybe
was
the song
just
was "I'll
part
never
of-
have a friend like
That cat.
Well,
like
the
that
song
again."
was part of the playlist and they were unaware of it. And it was just like a weird moment of things coming together in a bad way. Or maybe they just were like, shut up, old woman.
Speaking of NSYNC, I watched that doco you recommended.
The boy band con.
Yeah, it's
Great, it's
really
like
good.
Lou
Have you
Pearlman's
seen
story.
this?
Oh, it's
So
fantastic,
it's a
yeah.
YouTube original documentary. It's free on YouTube.
Right.
And it's produced by Lance Bass. And it's about
Of
Lou
NSYNC.
Of
Pearlman,
NSYNC,
fame.
yeah.
who was like the creator of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and a couple of other bands. But also just like a con artist. And it's really
Wait, Lance
And-
Bass was a
and-
con artist
and-
or the creator of...
No.
Lance Bass-
Lance
Lance
Bass.
Bass is
sweetheart.
Right, sorry, the one who...
An international.
The one who
creator.
started those bands was...
Wah, wah,
Yeah,
wah.
his name is Lou
Lance
Pearlman,
Bass.
and he was the manager of both bands, and he like pitted them against each other. And he's also a bit of like a sex pest, like
Oh, God.
dodgy, like
Yeah.
But it makes for an interesting doco. Not the Sex Pest, the pitting against the bands.
Oh, you need a sex pest in a doco. Otherwise, it's not a documentary. Do you know what?
You're looking at
thank
it.
God for the sex pest.
I mean,
that would have been a
yeah.
snoozer.
That's David Attenborough's there going,
That's better.
what we see here is a creepy man in a grey jacket.
I'm intrigued with your Attenborough voice.
What I actually did, I was panicking.
With which you said it, you're like, oh, it makes for a great doco.
I was panicking about whether or not my Attenborough was spot on, and I couldn't think of colours correctly.
It's the same when it's like, I think I saw someone did a TikTok on like, it was like women in their mid-30s, and it was just like, or listening to podcasts, and it was her doing some craft item, but listening to, and he slowly dragged the dismembered body from the boot of his car, and she's just like doing her crafting work, and I'm like, it's me, I'm that person. More dismembered bodies.
But what I didn't realize is that the NSYNC, once they got out of their contract with Lou Pearlman, the next album they put out was called No Strings Attached, which is all about how we're not part of that. And Bye 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 is a song, Bye 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 to Lou Pearlman.
And they're no longer puppets. They're no longer puppets.
There are no strings on me, Nick.
Yeah.
There are no strings on me.
The realization I had last week. Oh, God, it's all come together. God.
It's like we planned this thing.
Oh, wow. How did you not solve the Zodiac case?
I couldn't put all the strings together on the board. They weren't attached. Oh,
Okay, good. Great start to the show. That's
50% Attenborough, 50% Muppet.
That's true.
Which are traditionally hand puppets, not string ones.
Is it hands in the mouth, or
Yes.
are they strings in the mouth for Muppets?
No, it's a hand.
Chords.
It's a hand for the head, and then you have two pieces of like stiff
Stickies.
wire that they use for hands, and that's why sometimes they can usually hold it in between like that. So you'll see often Muppets walk with two arms like that when they're doing them in their knuckles like that.
Yep.
But then occasionally, if they need to really use one
They
hand,
help control it. Like
they
this.
drop one wire. He's not focusing on me. They drop one wire and then use one hand to wave, but then the other one will always be dead by the other side.
yeah,
So you'll
yeah.
never see one with like two
That's
hands.
where I was always like, did Elmo have a stroke?
It's when you see the legs, though, that it gets a bit weird and disconcerting.
Yeah.
Just like,
Oh, look, sorry. Kermit on a bike in the first Muppet film is still nightmare fuel. Look it up. It's fucking terrifying. You should not be on that
I
bike.
remember.
Pretty good.
I remember.
Yeah.
So that was how Gus is doing. Pete, how are you?
Fine.
Gosh, you're boring.
Yeah, you're not very chatty, are you? We're excited to be here. We're excited to talk about some video games. Should we talk about some video games?
Why not?
Yeah,
Let's do it. There's lots to talk about in a segment we like to call. Brought to you by BuriBuri. Thank you very much, BuriBuri, for your continued support of everyone's favorite segment. I'm just saying what you all been playing. BuriBuri, our favorite lawyer. You know, I'm watching the season 6 part 1 of Better Call Saul.
Nice.
Are we all Better Call Saulians here?
I haven't touched it. I'm going to binge through it.
God, it's
Remember when we were going to start talking about video games? Remember that?
Yeah, no.
But now we're going to talk about the great show on television?
Yeah, probably the greatest show on television. And I like to think that BuriBuri is our Saul Goodman.
Yeah. Nice.
I thought
say
you were
she
going
was Kim Wexler.
No.
Real con artist.
Put some respect on Kim Wexler's name.
I
Come
thought
on.
you were going to bring up the She-Hulk trailer where she's an attorney at law. Did no one see the She-Hulk trailer?
What
I
are you
did. I was-
fucking
I was-
talking about?
It's literally
no.
Yeah, okay, right.
Best show on television.
Yeah, she could be a She-Hulk.
You know what? I actually didn't mind that trailer.
No, I like the
And
trailer.
most of the Marvel TV shows, I'm just like, they're not good. But I liked when she turns into the Hulk in the little razor machine that he puts together.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes! And then she rips the door off and he's like, no! And it loses something in the retelling when you're not big and green. But if I was big and green, that would be hilarious.
Will?
Bye. So thank you very much, BuriBuri, for sponsoring the show. Our very own She-Hulk. There you go. You happy now?
I'm never happy.
Steph!
Too real.
How's your week
Hi.
been? Talk to me about what you've been playing.
So this week I played the new Evil Dead.
Yes.
With Barjo. I streamed it last night for our monthly co-stream that we do together. And
That's a spooky one, isn't it?
oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's a scary game. So you could say it's one of Texas Horror Hijinks.
Gotta get rid of that T.
Which T?
In the.
You want Hov He Week?
Yeah.
So you could say that this is similar surface level to Dead by Daylight in that it has, 4 players against one monster. Also, you can play either against AI or you can play against another player.
Can you play against AI in Dead by Daylight?
No, I don't believe so. Unless they've released a wave modus that I haven't heard of. But I signed up to the newsletter. So
You would have heard of that.
Settle down, mate.
However, this is much more involved
Yep.
and bigger and broader in scope
Oh.
than Dead by Daylight or any of its iterations. It's it's quite difficult, but in a good way. Barger and I did quite bad at it, I would say, throughout the night, but we were having a great time, and it was the kind of experience where we were every time we failed, we immediately were like, okay, this time we're going to get back in.
I know what I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the basic premise is that like there's a tutorial that you start with that's like definitely not a tutorial that you should skip. In fact, I think it's compulsory for a reason because there's some quite complex mechanics in there. But as the hunters, Bruce Campbell and fam.
So hang on. But hunters or survivors? Like, are you trying to stay alive as those four?
You're trying to stay alive for sure, but you have an objective, and the objective is to kind of get a number of items that are around the map.
Yep.
And then you have another thing that you have to do to kind of activate the items, and then you have to go to a site and purge the demonic energy from the thing, and then like defend a magic book that could
The
give you-
Necronomicon.
Right. Yes.
Sorry,
because
I
don't-
love the film.
They took it out
Yeah.
of Dota and they put it into.
I've seen bits and pieces of them, but I've
It's a messy series of films, so
sure.
you're forgiven for.
Yeah. But I feel like people in the chat were like so enthusiastically saying how wonderfully it referenced all the films down to little details and names and references and characters and unlockable characters.
I have heard
that
it's
you can get.
quite faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to that personally, but my understanding is that all of that stuff is really great.
Groovy.
So yeah, that's kind of your objective, is to collect these sort of different things around the map. But there are a bunch of different mechanics and systems in place as well that are happening. There is in addition to health and stamina, there is a fear mechanic. And the fear mechanic happens the longer you spend time in the dark, you have to clear that with light, or the longer you spend away from your other survivors. And you all spawn in different places around the map, not far from each other usually, but different places. And you have to find each other. You can see each other on a mini-map, but it's with the stamina and the evil things and the everything, it's
It's a bit of work to get.
a bit of work.
Task one is to get together.
Is to get together, yeah, because the longer you spend time apart, the higher your fear level goes up. And once your fear level goes up, then you become more visible to the monster.
Sorry, last question about the overall structure. It's 4v1, is
Yes.
it? And that one person, they're not a big, well, we're seeing lots of zombies run around.
I will get to that.
Okay, right.
Because that's the whole other side
half
of
of
it.
the game.
Yeah, the
Right.
other half of the game. Yeah. So that's your kind of thing. But the start of the game is also a little bit battle royale in that you have to grab as much gear as you can quickly, which is hard
right.
in the sense that you have to try and get together quickly, but you also can't all go to the same house, or you
Totally
won't
right.
have enough gear for all of you, right? So it's a bit of an awkward, terrifying grab at the start where you're like, I want to head over to them, but I also need to go somewhere where I'm going to get gear, because you can get a melee weapon, you want to get a ranged weapon. There's sort of limited ammo that you can find around. There are amulets that give you sort of buffs as well. There are health items that are just like energy drinks that you can have. And then there's like another type of drink that you can get that give you upgradable perks that you can apply each round that resets. You can also unlock perks for your characters that are static perks that stay as you level your characters persistently, but each round there's always unlockable things that you can put into like melee, ranged, whatever. So all of this stuff you're kind of thinking about from the moment the game starts,
Yeah.
and it's really frenetic and hectic. The monster, or the person who's playing the demon, does his kind of damage and hunting by possessing things. So the demon is kind of a spiritual entity that spawns into the game,
Right.
and can create portals into the kind of demonic realm that spew out fucking skeletons or like weird, creepy, depending on the type of demon that you choose, will determine what kind of creatures you have as your arsenal to possess. So there might be like,
Deadites, I believe, is the term.
Deadites,
They
right.
are called it Deadites.
yeah, so there's one type that spawns kind of skeleton, sort of heavy metal skeleton-y type dudes that are really heavily buffed and armored. There's another type that spawn really kind of creepy sort of skin monster things that run really fast and kind of explode in electricity. And then there was another type that I forget.
And are you controlling these things, or you
They
are
kinda-
unleashing these?
You're unleashing them, but you have the ability to possess them also.
Gotcha.
Okay,
right.
cool.
So it's AI on
And-
mass that you can ping pong between. And,
Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
And
okay.
similarly to you leveling up your character and getting gear and stuff like that when you're a survivor, when you're a monster, you have to be leveling up your minions as well to be successful in trying to sort of take out your people. Because then you can launch like heavier ones and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And
Strategy
looks like-
game from the demon side.
It's really full on, and it's
Yeah.
like you totally feel it when you're in a game where the demon just has no idea what they're doing. But then likewise, there's games that I played where they just found us immediately.
Can you
And
tell
we just
when?
got swamped with high level dudes, and I'm like, how is this person progressing through?
Can
the
you
game?
see as one of the survivors or whatever they call it? Can you see when a enemy is possessed by the demon, like when it's a human-controlled one, or is it hard to distinguish?
It was hard for me to distinguish. I'm sure you can.
Okay,
It's just
yeah,
there was
yeah,
so
it's-
much to take in, and we played multiple rounds of this over the course of the night. We could. Like, there was a thing, for example, when the skeleton dudes were buffed by another creature that was almost like a warlock that was kind of buffing them that we had to take out first. And then also the demon can possess trees and cars and stuff like that
cool.
around the environment. So when you're getting in a vehicle and trying to get away, the vehicle will suddenly become possessed and spit you out and start trying to run you over.
Oh, cool.
Or like the tree will just suddenly reach down and grab you with its creepy tree
The tree.
branches.
Trees
Trees are a thing.
infamously rapey in the series.
Rapey.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So-
gross. Okay, so then all of that's kind of happening at once, and all the while you're just you're mostly just trying to stay on top of your health and your stamina and your fear. It's this constant kind of balancing act, and being sort of survivally, all of the resources are so limited. If one of you gets downed and cannot be revived, and the revive window is pretty small, you can, as a player, take their soul and go to several altars around the map and resurrect them.
Cool.
Which is great because there are a few kind of clutch matches where we just had some high-level person who just picked up all of our souls and rezzed us, and we were like, what a hero.
Lord Phoenix says they have a red glow covering them when they're possessed.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Which I can understand
but then it's
missing.
Also, a lot of things have red.
I was gonna say in the middle of the action of a horror game, you're like,
and the
yeah.
buffed skeletons have a kind of a red halo around them as well when they're getting buffed by the flute guy. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
hard to distinguish. I found it hard to distinguish.
I was going to say as well, I'm pretty sure we saw footage of
The big guy.
a controlled thing before because of the way it was moving was very human.
Yeah, sure, yeah. All of the weapons are really great and fun. Like it's again like a battle royale, in that you want to try and find your favorite weapon, but there's no guarantee that you will. Like there's a big kind of knight sword in there that was just my favorite thing ever, running around the map in my like little leather jacket. And there are different classes with all the characters as well, so you can kind of buff out your party with a healer, support person, with a tank. There's one called a leader who kind of brings everyone's fear level down when you're close.
So
It's a lot of stuff.
I know it's so much.
So it feels like it's got some of that battle royale sort of stuff in there, but it's maybe a bit more like a Back for Blood, Left for Dead style. Like it's not as brutal as a battle royale, where when you get shot, you're just basically out. Like you could take out a lot of the AI during the scavenging phase and be tense, but not like worried that this game was only going to be like 3 minutes long and then you're out.
Yeah, I think so. I think there were certainly games we had that were shorter because I think also we got unlucky in that the monster player found us quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Like if the monster player finds you quickly, and it's also things like if you get in a car, the monster can find you.
Track you pretty easy.
Yeah. If you do things that are like drawing attention to yourself, they can track you and find you. And if your fear gets up too quickly, they can as well. There's a great thing that some of the skeleton monsters have, which is almost like a jump scare thing that just throws
Pushes you.
pushes. Yeah, it like puts a thing in you know like there's websites where it's like, oh, look at this cute thing, and then it like sucks
yeah,
it out with
yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like one of those really cheap.
Does
jump
it push
scares, but
your
it's so effective.
fear up in the game? Like,
Yes,
is it also,
it
yeah,
does.
right.
Yeah, when that happens as well.
How funny.
It's wild.
So
But
you
this-
like it?
I really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
liked it, but it's hard. Like it was quite hard. We found
Yeah.
it quite hard, but in a good way. I don't know how else to say it in that.
Challenging.
It's challenging, but like I felt like I had the capacity to get better.
Yeah, cool.
And I wanted to level my characters, and I wanted to try them all, and I wanted to. I think also that we were really focusing hard on playing the the survivors, but I still haven't played as the monster yet, which I'm usually terrible at. But I think I need to do it a few times just to get a sense of
What it can do.
What it can do,
Yeah.
so I can have a better understanding of what I'm trying to avoid. because it was crazy.
Hard to say how well balanced it is if you're feeling like you're being overwhelmed, but
Yeah,
don't
but
know
there are a
how
couple-
they're getting ahead. Like, is
It
it too,
but
is
sounds
it
like
too
that-
easy for them?
But that sounds like it is for the survivors in the way that you mentioned the tutorial up top. And I know that feeling when you boot up a game and you think, I reckon I can get the gist of this. And
wanna
it starts
play half an hour of
it throws you so much in the
Yeah.
tutorial, you're like, wow, I really wasn't going to pick all this stuff up if I didn't have it spelled out for me kind of thing.
Totally. But I do think it seems to be well balanced. I don't think we were doing badly because the game was sort of stacked against us.
Sure.
I think it's just that it really pushes you towards working together in such a great way, because I think often in these games when you do kind of team up with randoms, which Baja and I were just playing with randoms in this case, rather than sort of decking out our group with people we know, the fear mechanic forces you to stay together and help each other. And it really is difficult to pull off a win if you don't have your whole team there, or at least
Communicating.
3 of you.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, yeah,
Just there at the end.
communicating would be great, but just there, just to
Yeah.
help, because
Yeah.
you just get overwhelmed so quickly. And as the monsters level up, they do so much damage, and when you get overwhelmed, it's just impossible. So
Were we just seeing there, sorry to interrupt, but there was like a fog of war, like a closing dust storm. In the footage we're seeing here, which you might not have seen, but there's
it's
nothing
not a-
that's
it's not a-
restricting where you're meant to be.
No, in fact,
Okay.
it's quite a big map, and there's a lot of like undulation and verticality to it, which
Cool.
really pushes with this sort of stamina aspect when you're trying to like lug it up a hill in the rain, and your fear is high and your stamina is low, and you're just trying to find your friend, and you haven't got a Red Bull, and you're just low in health, and then a thing spawns. So it's a lot to be thinking about. I think some people were saying that they were trying to get a game as a monster and just couldn't.
Yeah, right.
That was the only thing, because it's popular and it's just launched, I think, and obviously the games with monsters are less because of the ratio.
Yeah.
And so people who wanted to find a game and play as a monster were struggling.
Yeah, fair.
But that will probably ease over time.
I'm keen to check this one out.
I really am too. I'm actually a big Evil Dead fan, and I saw this coming. I was like, I'm just not going to hype myself up in case it's a real cash in.
Yeah.
But I'm
it's
like,
it's 75% on Metacritic. I've seen a lot of people whose opinions I respect say,
yeah.
like, including yourself,
seems
they
like
say that they have a lot of fun with
The
it.
fact that
so-
we can't quite categorize it as a battle royale or as a Dead by Daylight knockoff or as anything else, it's like it seems to be a really nice grab bag of kind of like lots of things that are working well, asymmetrical multiplayer,
Yeah.
but not being distinctly one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's creating its own little niche with all
we
of
should
that.
do a thing.
Yeah,
I
I'd
really
like
like
I'd
it
like to
too.
play with a full team in communication, because I feel like that would make a big difference.
You said it's 4-player?
4-player against.
We need
Okay.
Barjo as the monster
Yeah.
to just take the fear level out, if anything. But
I want to be the
Yeah, cool. Okay, great.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's just, I was so surprised because when I sort of read the premise of it, I was like, oh, it's another Dead by Daylight.
totally, that's
Yeah.
what I
Dead by Daylight.
genuinely
It's
thought this was going to be a
fun, but
knockoff.
It's funny
really
though. I
interesting.
I like the idea of Dead by Daylight. I just don't like the tone of Dead by Daylight. I don't really like gory, grisly stuff, and so it makes me go like, I don't really want to spend time in that world. Whereas this is more like, I mean, it's horror, but it's like
classic
classic cabin in the woods style
Yeah.
horror, as opposed to the Dead by Daylight thing, which is
Yeah.
such a like butcher shit. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
I guess for me that stuff is kind of irrelevant because they're both kind of gnarly horror settings, but it's about the kind of systems. Like Dead by Daylight, I find just gets old really quickly.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think-
Yeah.
Mechanic.
Yeah.
And it
much
started
going
so
on in this. Every game is very
it started so fresh, Dead by Daylight, and it's had such a long run in the popular
they
zeitgeist.
just-
It's like,
Yeah.
they're
but-
releasing a dating game.
oh really?
Yeah.
Date by Daylight.
Date by Moonlight.
Do you know what it's called?
No.
Hooked on You. It's a dating sim
amazing.
game that's
In that
coming out
world,
in a couple
or-
of months.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
featuring
But-
You can
characters.
date all of the.
That's amazing. But the way that game has kind of had to fill out its its villains and things because it's been so successful.
Yeah.
Whereas it feels like this is a chance for these developers to go, let's start from the ground up again and build a different system.
Yeah, it's
and the Evil Dead series are comically full of lore that
Yeah.
people who are fans of love. But man, that translates well to a game like this where you suddenly need different enemy types, lots of amulets and books and things like that.
Did they go back in time
Medieval
at
Yes,
one
the
point?
third
Because
Yeah.
there's
Army
one
of
of the
Darkness.
unlockable characters is one of the.
You
somebody
would
tell me.
love the third Evil Dead film.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
It's
like
if it's
so tonally
the
different.
quickest like summary is the first one was like an indie hit film he made. The second is the first film remade with a budget,
Yeah.
and at the end of it, he goes back in time. So the third one is like a comedy set in medieval times
Yeah.
with zombies,
'Cause
and
it's-
it's like
'cause
totally tonally changed.
I think Bruce Campbell is great, and yeah, it's funny. But that character, that's I think probably the main character from the thing, is an unlockable character in this. but so he's not one that you kind of see or could choose from the start. But at one point, we just spawned in a game with this one dude who was playing that character and had a very British accent and was saying very knightly British things.
How
he was
cool.
running around with his sword.
There's like
And he was the one that ended up being the kind of clutch dude who saved us all the time. So we were just like so in love with the knight that was saving us with his beautiful turn of phrase.
All right, we should book in some time to play this because I
Yeah.
really want to do it. And really, that's the only reason why we should do it because I think I should get what I want. Peter, what have you been playing?
Yes,
this
sir. I've got notes for my games but I don't know the names of either.
week? I was going to say.
Are the notes just the names?
No, it's also what the hell the game is because I feel like it deserves that description. And we'll start with Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Demon Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
In this fast-paced, turn-based tactical RPG, you take the role of the Grey Knights. Root out and purge a galaxy-spanning plague in a cinematic, story-driven campaign using the tactics and talents of your own personalized squads of demon hunters. It is XCOM in the 40k universe.
Right.
It is a very deep and very complex turn-based strategy game. And I would say the mechanics of it are fantastic.
What?
It is the most disgusting piece of shit I've ever looked at. And also the lore and the cinematics drag it down heavily.
Yeah.
But
Unless you're a massive fan.
unless you're a
maybe,
massive fan.
yeah.
But it has some really, really cool concepts behind it. And some features that I haven't really seen in a tactical strategy game
turn-based.
like this. The most recent one that I played,
Tactics?
Gears Tactics, I think was actually absolutely great, and I can't remember the name of the other one. Not Company of Heroes, but something similar. Call of whatever. It's like 3.
Yeah.
something 3.
Right.
We're already at 40,000 in this one. It has a really intense opening kind of hour of learning the game. But like it is so going to appease 40k diehards.
Yep.
Mario and Rabbids as well was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
This I prefer to this to Mario and Rabbids and XCOM in its not having the dice roll on hits. If you can see something, you can hit it.
Oh, yeah.
And a really cool mechanic that apparently ties into the lore, I looked it up, was that you can augment each of your abilities. The Grey Knights in the Space Marine lore are basically imbued with some kind of psychic wizardry. They have a pool of magic points, and you can spend those to augment melee attacks, or basically anything that you can do. And so you will build a character in the same way that XCOM has you. You have a character, you can give them a name, you can dress them in the kit that you want, you can specialize them into a talent tree. It is so deep. And then all the Grey Knights are psychers, says Gazra. Yeah, they have psychic powers.
Okay.
So you can use that, you can imbue your abilities and do extra damage at the cost of a timer that's at the top of every map. Now, in the galaxy, to set the scene, you're traveling through this galaxy that is being plagued by something in a ship that has been destroyed. So it's like, fix your ship, stop the plague, research corpses, get the resources to pay your humanoid robot android thing that's on the ship that's super weird to fix the ship and stuff. This guy, yeah, that guy right there. And you're just really swamped at the start with all of these concepts that are happening around you, and on top of a really complicated system of combat. But anyway, you kind of as time kind of ticks through, the plague is building. So you land on a planet to find resources or for a main mission. You then kind of go through combat encounters as you would expect, with action points and magic points and movement. And that all works very well. There's some cool animations. They look like chunky dudes. They climb over things, which I haven't seen a lot.
Mantle, you say?
Yeah, they instead of them it just being cover.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't. always work as cover, though it often provides like it's a damage reduction rather than saying, oh, you can't hit me now because of the percentage drop. It's you'll do less damage.
To be fair, in that armor, they can't hide behind anything.
Totally.
Basically,
Yeah.
like,
But if you go, I want you to move over there, it goes, all right, climbs up on top of the thing and then goes over it. And it all looks and feels like cool on the battlefield. And then, up the top, you see that kind of semicircle wedge. And that's every time you land, there's a build up of this cesspool of the plague builds until it pops and then more enemies spawn.
Yeah, cool.
And it's really actually quite difficult.
So
you feel, even from mission 1, you feel I'm scraping through.
Yeah, right.
Which is a cool feeling.
that thing you mentioned about foregoing or like using perks but losing time, is that the advantage disadvantage thing? So it's if you choose to buff someone, you might gain that there's shorter amount of time before the plague arrives.
It shows you that if you use this psychic ability, it's the lore, I think, is that there's some beast that can sense it, and therefore it
Interesting.
excites the beast. And you never want to excite the beast in 40k. And then the plaguey stuff comes. The enemies you encounter are like basic goons at the start, and I was like, oh, these guys are boring as. But then all of a sudden there's demons and there's plague burster dudes, and there's like the combat is cool, and I love the Overwatch mechanics and stuff. I love the strategy of But the idea of taking your time with this is hard because you're like, well, as soon as that clock gets all the way around, boom,
excite the beast.
the beast is excited, and there's enemies spawning all around me.
Is that timer happening as you're deciding between moves, or is it only...
it's turn based as well. So
Okay,
every turn it ticks up 5%, and then if you use psychic ability, it adds another 5%.
But you can sit there staring at the board for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've only played a couple of hours, and that only got me through kind of the introduction to all of it. But I would absolutely say if you like tactic games, then this is a good one.
Yeah.
And if you like Warhammer, you'll love it. But if you don't like Warhammer, there's a lot of... You can hold space, and it skips every cutscene. It's great.
Good. Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say I know very little about Warhammer. Both.
I know
and like,
nothing.
but I'm not shaming it. I think it's cool. I think it's something I always used to look at. Every video game iteration I've seen has been like a third-person shooter or a first-person shooter. I'm like, has there been a lot of tactical translations of what is a tactical tape?
Warhammer?
Okay, yeah. I guess like...
Which is not 40k.
Yeah, which is not 40K.
40k are the Space Marines.
Yes.
But Warhammer broadly is like
is the
fantasy and all different
stuff.
types of...
But I mean, this translates more directly to tabletop and the way people might enjoy playing these games with the figures and stuff, which is why I think it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, but so much less expensive.
Yeah. I wonder why that they haven't all been in a...
Well, maybe they have.
It is $65, which I thought was steep.
They
for
always
this,
were really
but,
expensive.
But I think that's the Warhammer tax.
Yes.
It's like it's another 50% on top of what you'd like to pay.
It's not on Game Pass? Maybe it's
I don't think so. I think it's Epic exclusive on PC at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's a really solid game. I found myself in spite of wanting to hate it due to the characters that I had to talk to, I was like, I'll just shut up and get me to the game because it's a really deep strategy, and the idea of fixing your ship incrementally and studying the necro to power yourself up. It's like there's some really cool systems.
People are mentioning in chat there's been RTSs, but I'm like, this still feels more like moving figurines around a board and having line of sight attacks,
Totally,
which is like what I generally assume.
And also just
Great
like
environmental
more
stuff.
XComs give us more Mario and Rabbids, which is
Yeah.
so funny that you go like Mario, like you were like, I prefer this over a Mario and Rabbids,
yeah.
and it's like they're actually functionally basically the same game, but they are so wildly different.
yeah, absolutely. And sorry, my point about I think Mario and Rabbids is a much more fun game to play through, but I don't like the dice roll.
Yeah, totally.
The fact that you can miss a 95% shot
Yeah.
is not
so
fun
annoying.
to me.
No.
The fact that you could get missed by a 95% shot
That
is
is
a
fun.
lovely feeling.
That is the payoff, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it in my
Fair
books.
enough.
So I really like this. I think
cool.
the systems are awesome and
great.
and building up characters. I was not attached to any of them, but I called one of them Poopy, and that was funny having
I always
Poopy, the
call a
giant.
character Poopy.
Yeah.
Something about that. It's just endearing.
It feels
Cute,
safe.
And it makes you smile.
It's
And
a
you
little
thought
rude, but
that's an
safe.
expendable character, and 3 matches in, you're like, save
Save
Poopy.
Poopy.
Everybody protect Poopy.
You're leveling up.
Kill Steph, save Poopy.
Yeah.
It's
crazy, dude.
It's funny. I've seen people talk about this. I've seen articles, trailers, promotion, and I see Warhammer, and
The thumbnails
my
are
eyes
never
just
in-
like
Glaze over.
Yeah.
glaze. It's not that I'm not interested, but it's like whatever follows it, I'm like, I never absorb it. So I thought this was an expansion to Total War Warhammer. So
Yeah,
then
right.
it was like, this is Warhammer 40,000. I was like, oh, interesting. And then you're like, it's like XCOM. I'm like, I love XCOM.
And you got
How
none
did
of
I
that from
not
the box art, the thumbnail, the
None
ad.
of it. It all is
Like-
just the same thing to me.
Yeah.
All of it. I am racist against Warhammer. It's all Warhammer is just the same to me. It just blends into one. So I'm glad that this is fun. I might check this out.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I've only scratched the surface and I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, cool.
It's really deep. And the other thing that I've been playing, and again, let me refer to my notes. Umurangi Generation Special Edition.
Gesundheit.
Umurangi Generation is a first-person photography game set in the retro future. That's all I need to read of that, because that literally describes the whole game.
Yeah, you did.
It is a first-person photography game. You were given a film camera.
What a hard pivot.
Yeah, and
Oh, you're
a
doing
series of challenges.
terrible job.
This isn't my footage. I captured some great footage.
No.
He's our cameraman.
This isn't me. This isn't me. This is not my footage. You were thrown into little maps. I immediately was reminiscing about Tony Hawk. It looks like early Tony
yeah,
Hawk.
right, yeah,
It is, you go into a little map and get a series of challenges.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
Finish the challenges in the time limit.
Oh, there's a time limit.
Yeah, you get bonus points if you finish it within the time limit. You can go on through. And it's got like just a cool jet set vibe.
Can they not focus on it? It looks like they're struggling.
You absolutely can.
This
You absolutely can, but
frustrating
there's a lot of controls to wrap around.
Yeah.
This person decided to walk away, and that got the subject into 5G.
That's so funny. I feel like we've all been there with the mouse
Shake
shake.
the
We're just
cursor.
like, God
Yeah.
fucking damn it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it was arrows and
Yeah.
There's some odd controls, and then you can do like post processing on every photo you take. It's quite cool because it's asking you to just explore the little sandbox that it's given you, because the challenges tell you what you need to find.
Yep.
So you know it exists somewhere, and it's go and find it. Which is quite nice, and it's like 10 minutes per map is the limit it sets on you. So you don't really spend more than 10 minutes on a map because you're trying to achieve that. And as you successfully complete challenges and do well in a mission, you finish a mission, you might get a lens for finishing it. You might get...
Oh, that excites the beast in you.
the beast is
Come
up.
on.
The beast is popping when I get a new lens.
There's a t-shirt.
You can... there's some other features that you get. Maybe
tape?
a flash.
Gaffer
And,
tape?
I don't think there's tape. Disappointingly, there's no tape. But I think you can get a flash module to sit on top as well, so you can do flash photography. And
Oh, these are all functional.
these are all
in the game.
functional
Yeah,
like things that you get in the game to
Yeah, cool.
improve your photography in the game.
This person's playing to unlock a focus ring. Because they're like, clearly I can't do it yet.
Focus. This launched on the Switch last year and was very well received. It's just come out on Game Pass, which is where I saw it and started playing it. And
And it was on PC the year before that.
yeah, right. Okay, yeah, cool. And it's it's really cool.
Can I
Yeah,
ask
cool.
a question that popped up when we talked about things
This,
like...
they've now gone, okay, how do I focus? Look at I got autofocus.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Something that came up when we talked about another one of your favorite photography games, Pokemon Snap,
Yeah.
is
Oh,
how... the reason I didn't jump
what
on
a
this...
game.
When I saw this on Game Pass, I didn't jump
yeah.
on it straight away, is because I thought there'd be a disconnect between trying to take a cool arty photo and having a game's AI or a game system judge that based on... It's either going, take a photo of a bird,
Yeah.
you got the bird in it, or take a cool photo of a bird. Like, does it try in any way? to
Yeah,
analyze
there's an algorithm.
There's
Is it
no-
canted?
there's no-
If yes,
There's
then.
no human judging the art.
So you could do the Pokemon Snap thing, but does it try that at least?
well, you're seeing it right here, moody minimalist landscape photo.
You trust-
get no, but it's totally irrelevant because you have enough time to take the photo that you want as well as the objective.
Okay,
photo.
cool.
So
That's-
you and you can choose to save some to the gallery or you can choose to not. And also the beautiful thing about it as well is that it's film, so you only have 24 shots.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
It goes-
an app.
Like,
Yeah.
like Firewatch.
Yeah, although you do find reels spare reels around, so you can take basically you can take as many photos as you want. But there is a limit, and that's a nice restriction to put on you from a game perspective as well. So you're not just snapping everywhere. You're trying to get a nice shot.
I have a love-hate relationship, I think, with photography in games. I think part of me is just like, I hate this and I don't want to be doing it. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to take the kind of pictures that I want to be taking. But then once I'm
But a
tasked
photo
with doing
mode in
it-
a game.
Well, that's different. Once I'm tasked with with taking photos, then I take it super seriously, and then I get frustrated because I spend so much time on it, and I take the photo, then reframe the photo, then I go back, and then I'm like, I develop it. I'm like, no, this sucks. I'm gonna have to go back and take it again. And there was a photo mode built into Martha is Dead that I never mentioned.
Oh my God.
That was a whole part of the game, and with an old timey camera, and you were unlocking different add-ons and lenses.
Yeah.
And different kind of stuff. And
This was built into that game.
I wasted a lot of
This
time.
might be a good cure for like you playing this and going, oh, there's actually a game to the photography, so it would feel like it would take those pressures off.
Maybe. I think I enjoyed it in Firewatch because it was a similar thing where it was like you have a limited amount of photos.
right.
They had they had no real function, and then it was that thing at the end
to
where they
see them.
surprised you with you could get
During
them
the
printed.
credits, yeah.
You got to see them during the credits.
right.
They're like, also, do you want like we'll just print these and send them to you for
right.
for a fee?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah, yeah.
it was a really cool thing.
I just can't. I've never got excited by a photo mode in a video game ever. I don't like photo things in games. I think it comes down to this is such a dumb thing.
Screenshots is different. If it's a cool screenshot, it's like fuck, I'm in.
I
Like,
see even that I'm like, I don't care. But
if you can manipulate and I can set the character and I can move around and the light. and
Like I
can
like that other
filter.
people
Yeah.
like it, but I'm just like,
I use it sometimes
Love
as
it.
I did in Horizon just to look at the fidelity of the game and be like, there's the
And
pause
look at
on
the
the
fidelity
skin.
of
look at
this
the
game.
fidelity of that penguin. Look at that out of focus penguin.
But Martha is Dead was the same, where it was
Don't
like.
Martha is Dead. It's
Don't
the
you
same.
dare.
How
No.
dare you? How dare you bring up that name?
But I mean, like where there was a whole photography mechanic to it, and I had to take a photo of a bird, and I put the bird slightly left of shot because who puts the bird in the center of frame if you're an artiste,
Yeah.
right? And I failed the objective
Yeah.
because the bird was not centered because it was like take a photo of the bird. And I'm like, the bird is in the fucking.
Well,
photo.
the game is called Mother is Dead, not Mother is a photographer. So
But then don't make that a major mechanic of the game.
I
And you
think
got on your bike and you rode home.
I'll let you finish on this in
Yeah,
one
yeah.
second.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I don't like photo modes in games is that and this is such a dumb reason.
That's how I felt last week.
It's not. It's
You
not
deserved it.
real. You haven't accomplished anything.
Yeah.
You haven't captured something
That's video
authentic.
games in a
I know.
nutshell.
No, I know. Totally. So once you
None
add
of
that
this
system
matters.
to something that already doesn't matter.
yeah.
Like I think that it's like you framed up like the perfect photo. It's like, yeah, but you did it in a video game where like you could manipulate it. Yeah, anyway, it's a dumb reason, but like I've just never engaged with this. But this game was on multiple people's Game of the Year list in 2020 who I'm like, I always trust your taste in video games.
So it is, it's deeper than a photography game in that the setting is, kind of revolutionist post-apocalypse, and the punk kids are trying to
Is photography
take
banned?
back the city, and mission to mission the levels change and they're really interesting. And there's like the United Nations military has kind of taken over all the major cities in the world and are oppressing the society. And there's I didn't finish it, so there's a message built into each of the sandboxes, so you're kind of getting a taste of like progressing through the decrepit world that exists now, which is well paced in its delivery, because you start on this rooftop looking at a beautiful sunset and you're like, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's an ugly looking game, really, but there's beauty in it.
these wild swings you're taking at these games you've been playing. This is the most hideous thing I've ever seen.
I just play ugly games and Halo, the best game. And then the next one is like, oh, there's no color. And then the next one, because you're in a military camp, and then the next one is like, oh, now I'm down on the streets where there's still some like life, and there's people having like candlelit kind of it's like meetings, and there's still a couple of neon signs that work around in like the seedy parts of town and stuff. And it's like, oh, cool, you're painting a picture of like, look at the big UN wall that's wrapped around, this like the world has fallen apart.
Do you know what has happened in the world?
No, I haven't gotten that far to reveal that, but you know?
Yeah. I remember people talking about it, and I just Googled it to confirm the thing that I thought it was.
Yeah.
And it's very much that. and it's going to be interesting to see how you take that.
Cool.
Yeah, I also remember that the game released an expansion, which I assume is just in this
special
which was
edition
macro lenses. So like you can
Yeah.
go back through the whole game
Cool.
now with macro lenses, and
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Awesome, cool. That is a diverse list of games that you've been playing this week. Gus, what have you been checking out?
I had a busy week, so I checked
Why
out
are
a
you
couple
so
of
shocked?
I was like a game. I was like,
frightened.
maybe that's the game where I can finally talk to the cameras.
Right, okay.
I'm just gonna look forward to that.
Nice.
No, I had a busy week, so I only had time for a couple of games, and so I found two short. The two games that have playable demos as well. So the first one of them I checked out is a game called Shotgun King: The Final Checkmate, which is a take on chess developed by Puncake, who I later discovered are a developer made up of two game devs and a composer who work remotely from different countries, and they have a Patreon where they make a game a month. And if you sign up to their Patreon, you get that game. And this was the game for this month, or I think maybe last month.
Man, we're
But-
just giving people T-shirts.
I know. I said the exact same thing. I was like, that is
Every
precious.
3 months.
Yeah. So this is their latest one,
Wow.
and it is currently on Steam. There's a demo of it, and I think if you bought it on Steam, it's like I don't know, $6 or
It's
something.
it's $8 on Steam.
$8, or
Yep.
if you'd signed up, it's like €2 on the
Yeah,
Patreon.
right.
So and you'd get it earlier. So that was something I thought was fascinating. But they've made this game, which is a spin on chess, where you play a lone king who's foregone the rest of the pieces in exchange for a shotgun. There's even a fun little story at the start, which is like he's a doomed king. The bishop turns up and is like, "You were the worst king we ever had, but I'm gonna die with you. So here's a shotgun. Good luck." And basically, you play these little setups or puzzle boards where you go up against a different configuration and number of opponent pieces, and your goal is to obviously take out the king on that side and eliminate the other pieces. Everything from there works like regular chess in terms of moves and how you have to avoid being taken or checkmate or checked. But of course, you do have a shotgun, which has limited range and proximity.
Of course.
In a game called Shotgun King. So your moves are limited to you move, you can choose to move, then reload, or I think reload standing still might get you 2 shells, but or you can move and then fire. The one technicality I took me a bit to get my head around, but I really enjoyed is the fact that you can't shoot a player. You can't shoot an opponent piece if you're about to be checked. It'll say beep beep. You can't do that. It'll stop you from doing that.
Unless you can kill it.
Unless you can kill it. If you're going to kill it and still get taken or checked, it won't let you make that move. You can, however, move into checkmate unknowingly, which I think is fantastic because it takes out the computer thinking for you. Like any usual games of chess online, you can play a game and it says, don't move there, you'll get checked. Here, you have to keep your wits about you enough to realize that if you make a bum move or the wrong move, the piece will take you and it's a game over.
So, for example, because I played a little bit of this today, and I adore it. Because
I was going to say, I thought you would love this.
So, if your king is there, and on the same row, you've got a pawn and then like a rook, then if you kill the pawn, then suddenly you can be taken. And because you killed that, then the castle just comes down and takes you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you just put yourself in check, which I agree is brilliant because it's like,
Well, it
I
keeps an action-
got so many times where I was like, oh, I totally just fucked up because like I was so proud that I took out 3 pawns with one shot, but actually I just opened myself up. Yeah.
And so that's what keeps it, I'm not going to say action focused, but it feels like you have to be aware of your surroundings. You're not just playing chess and clicking through options. And then it is a roguelike in the sense that each run you are trying to get through a number of floors, which will get progressively harder. And each time you finish a board or you clear a board, you get to select from 2 buffs that affect you that you can see over on the left-hand side of the screen there. You get a card which will come with like quicker reload speed, more ammo. You can move twice, things like that. But each of those options will also come with a debuff for the opponent, which you can see stacking up on the other side, which will be things like they gain extra pawns at the start of the game, or every 10th move they get 2 knights. So you have to weigh up the pros and cons of those buffs and debuffs.
Sure.
And that will build up per 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 levels that you need to get through. The other gameplay mechanic is there's a card you have next to the board, which will give you, which is like has a cooldown on it, and that is kind of a superpower to pull out that will range from allowing you to move in non-traditional king moves. You only move 1 square at a time, like the king, but you might be able to, if you get in a sticky situation, use that card and move like a knight and fire across the board on diagonals or something like that. So it is an ace up your sleeve to use.
It's bishop, but yeah.
What did I say?
You said a knight.
Knight moves in L's, little L's. Thank you.
Little L's.
That's how I remembered little L's when I played chess.
Knight moves in big L's.
Big L's.
Well, a little L is just a line. A big L is a line in the thing.
That's a good point. I meant little.
But a small big L. A small capital L.
If you look at
Capital can be
the size of a chessboard, have you ever drawn an L that size in your actual life? No, you haven't. That's a big L. Got you on every count.
And it's fantastic. It's a really clever little spin on chess, and I enjoyed playing both fast and loose and slow and steady. It's fun to play tactically like a chess game, where often chess games have little challenge modes where you have to get out of situations. But here, obviously, the advantage of the shotgun. It is not an I win button by any means. It is.
How many spaces can the shotgun fire?
I think
it looks
it's
like
two.
all.
It's two, but you're seeing stats on the left before you fire that do show you. Oh, that's what
happened?
What the fuck?
They took out. They took out the king. So that's it. If you take the king out, all the
I thought you
pieces
had
go.
a super with a bar that you
No,
filled
no,
up
no,
down
no,
the
no.
bottom.
There's on the.
That's what I thought.
And then you hit Q at a certain point.
I thought it was like the what was it? That's the gun in
equivalent of
Gears
saying,
of
I don't
War
wanna
where
play-
you shoot the laser on the ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of saying "fuck chess, Dad" and flipping the board on the
Yeah,
table. You do see the stats of the range and the damage that you're doing, and I think there is an element of you're not quite sure if it's going to take out a piece based on your distance. You'll be like, I'm going to hit that and do 1 damage to that pawn or 2 damage to it. I'm not sure if it's going to kill it. So I think the more you play, the more you learn what the damage is. But that goes up with your modifiers. So suddenly you'll do double damage or double distance or triple fire your gun, things like that. Really simply made, but really, really fun. There's a free demo, and I think $8 for the full game.
Yeah, it's great.
So it's definitely worth checking out. And just currently
Or
on PC.
sign up to the Patreon.
Or go check out Pancake Delicious, I believe, is the full term for the developer. And it's really cool because they're going to keep making a game a month, apparently. If they can keep that up.
Oh, right. This is the first one.
No, 5th.
Okay, I was like, is this like an unproven?
Is this a POC art? Is this a POC art?
It's the POC art. Oh, God, can you imagine? And their other games look really cute. They're all...
Hey
they're
guys, so remember we said we're gonna make a game a month?
They've made Rush for the Ages, which is a fast civilization card game. Shroomkatect, which is a cute and relaxing mushroom settler game. Oh fuck, they've made a ton.
They're all more than just one... I mean, that game is
Spectrum
more than
Forces.
One. That game is more than just one modified element. Like, all their games look well fleshed out, that they have a few things going on. Top-down shooter, a little dungeon crawler, things like that. So worth checking out.
Yeah.
Looks really cool. The other game I checked out is a game called They Always Run. It's a side-scrolling brawler that came out on... it's been out on PC for a while. It comes out on Switch, I think, tonight or maybe tomorrow. Thursday, Friday release date. So it's coming out to Switch, which made me go and have a look at it. Turns out there's a free demo on Steam. And of course, I was drawn to this one due to the art style. It has a beautiful art style in terms of hand-drawn looking animations, painterly backgrounds, pixelated things.
Does it have a dinosaur man with human hands?
It better.
Possibly, a la Raptor Boyfriend?
Yeah.
Could have.
I think that lizard man has human hands.
Well, then I'm done with this game. Move on. No, you play a bounty hunter, and you're in a very stylistic, cool, futuristic setting. You play a bounty hunter who has 3 arms. He has a robotic arm on his back, which is kind of a no-no in that universe. It's like people look down. No, like people hate bounty hunters and hunted. Sorry, not a no-no.
The no. They're bounty hunters.
He wears a
off
cape.
Arms.
He wears a cape to hide it, and it's like people go, "Oh, you filthy bounty hunter!"
You're
like,
filthy.
filthy
You
three-arm
need to poo-poo
no-no.
in your pants. That's a no-no. That's a no-no in our
That's a no-no.
post-apocalyptic.
And then they run off. But
They always run when I kill myself.
Well, you start the game in a bar, and you're surrounded by people who've come to kill you, and in a very like cool anime style,
You shit yourself.
You shit yourself. You take on all of them at once.
Ooh, I like that jacket animation.
Well, that's the cape that's hiding your third
Oh,
arm.
it's a cape.
And
Less fabulous.
I feel like we're getting
more
stuck at
More fabulous. This is chaotic energy, right?
This
Yeah.
is chaotic energy. From there, it's a basic 2D platformer with a really cool art style and really fun, snappy combat that's quite simple at its core. Essentially, you've just got like attacks, counters, and dodge rolls. You do have an attack modifier which allows you to control that third arm, which is
I was
super
about to say,
powerful.
when does the third arm come into it?
So you hold down a
on.
bump and you can use that, and it's an I win button, but it does have charge, so it runs out of charge that you need to counter to build the energy up. It also you use it to break walls and solve puzzles, things like that. The style is fantastic in this, which is again why I was instantly onto it. The character animations are very kind of like it's like kind of Cowboy Bebop style, like the way it's sort of
Definitely the
hand-drawn.
poncho sells like cowboy.
Well, there's high kicks, and when you do like finishes and counters, it slow mos and zooms in, and you get really cool looking. The combat never gets boring, and they often turn into little puzzle sections with things like here you're seeing like a sniper and multiple heavy goons. The third arm breaks shields, so you'll have to use that sparingly, things like that. And then on top of it, you're a bounty hunter, so most levels in the game, there is a revenge story there, but most levels are hunting down someone through a level, taking out goons, eventually leading to like a fun parkour chase against with them, where you're running through some cool environments and, you know, like leaping, mantling, if you will, over ledges and things like that. And then capturing them. The boss fights are really fun because you...
Oh, God. That was a 50-50 chance you cracked something then.
I was like, the lights just...
on the way.
The boss fights do include a health bar and a unconscious. Okay, you're unconscious.
Incontinent?
So the opposite of unconscious, a conscious bar.
Consciousness?
It's a hard word to say.
Conscious.
Subconscious?
No, like you can knock them out.
Right.
So they have a conscious bar that you can, maybe it's not called that, but you can choose to either do regular sword attacks.
I'm going to say it's an unconscious bar, and if you fill it, they go
That makes more
unconscious.
sense, yeah. So the bosses, you have a chance to use your heavy, easier weapons to kill them and take their body as a bounty and take them on your ship and cash them in. Or you can...
Third arm.
Or you can use the third arm to knock them out and get more money for them when you take them in. And then the money you get, you use to buy upgrades and weapons and things like that.
Every time we drive past a church, Steph says, church.
Really? Yeah. Now she'll say third arm. And there's like really cool music, really cool art. And in the demo in particular, I will say you look at a big skill tree of upgrades that you get. And the first one you get is pistols. And do you get one? Do you get two? Well, Steph, how many do you think you get?
Oh, I hope you get 3, Gus.
You get 3 pistols. And so this is the combat juggling that, as I said, heaps of fun. But at the end of the demo, you cash in your bounty, you get the money, you buy your pistols, you walk back to your ship, you're ambushed by 3 guys who are like, hey there, we finally got you. And it's like, hey, try out the pistols you just got. You press one button and just take out all 3 of them in one go, using them and the title screen flashes up. And I was like, what a cool way to end a demo. And I'm like, I'm in. I want to play more of this. So I picked up the main game and I'm now 2 levels through it. And it is really, really fun and really well designed and worth a play. I really enjoy it. The last thing is there's a lighting style on these 2D sprites, which paint the characters in different lighting based on where they're running through the level.
Oh, wow.
It's a small detail, but holy fuck does it just make everything
The environment
pop.
art is really beautiful.
Well, it makes everything stop being like a flat background. Suddenly,
I feel like this type of art is getting a real kind of spotlight at the moment. It's just getting better and better. Like people love retro art styles, but the way that retro art has been elevated with kind of modern applications.
well, that's exactly it. Like
it's
the way
like-
you get little cast lights and shadows as you run through a
so
bar, you're like,
beautiful.
why do I love this?
Well, because
Like-
it also looks like this looks like art that you would see in a point-and-click adventure.
Yeah, this is Fate of Atlanta. Like,
Yeah.
it's LucasArts stuff.
Slower
But when you
frame
see it
rate,
in this
like,
silky
painterly.
smooth movement, then it's
Yeah.
incredibly satisfying.
and then
it's like
just
watching The Hobbit in 60 frames per second.
Ooh.
Oh,
The
that
way
was
it was
like
meant- the-
ideal way.
yeah,
the way it was
Yeah,
meant to be
yeah,
watched.
yeah.
But yeah, having the ship and the bounties and all that kind of stuff is a really nice spin on it. And yeah,
Cool.
a lot of fun with it. They always run.
They always run.
They always run.
Right.
Right.
And there's a demo on Steam. Demos on Steam are my thing at the moment because I, like Gus, have been. This is the little indie Steam corner. But I have been playing a lot of things this week. A lot of the stuff I've been playing is things that I've already played before because I've been testing those things on something I got this week, and that something is Steam Deck. Ooh. Oh, baby. So, this,
Can I touch it?
yeah, of course you can. So I've been playing with that for a couple of days, and I love it so much. It is exactly what I wanted it to be. I adore it. It's
Grotania says, son of a...
sorry.
Grotania is mad at you.
Yeah, right. I would be mad
Hey,
at me too.
Grotania, you've still got your money, so consider yourself a
right.
smarter person.
So the you would have seen lots of stuff about the Steam Deck, so I won't go through like
feel like-
all that stuff.
I feel like my thumbs are too short.
Yep, I can see that because
You need a third thumb.
you need a third thumb. The joysticks are quite high on it for sure. It's what I'm enjoying about it is it's nearly a full size control scheme, so it actually doesn't feel like you're sort of like weird grippy stuff. So I've been going through and playing a ton of stuff. I booted up things like God of War, Dark Souls 3, like things where I go, I would like to actually test how this looks in terms of like me playing a AAA game and trying to do this on the couch while I'm watching TV. I'm happy to report that in those cases, completely serviceable. I would say not the way that I would play a whole game like that, but it's probably not how I will choose to do it. It's more like I've played it for a couple of hours on my computer, and then when I want to do some side quests or
You
something,
put
I can.
Paradise Killer on here.
Of course, it's a classic.
That's kind of the ones that shine.
And so,
I know, I just thought like in your essential gaming experiences to test your
gotta-
Steam Deck, you're like, oh, I gotta put Paradise Killer on here. Like,
name me a game with better art.
Well, the other one
or
was
better Gaonic
was,
energy.
Yeah, you wanna-
40,000 chaos. I've lost the rest.
Yeah. Wargate.
Chaos. Gate Demon Hunters.
There you go.
the first game you were showing off was Vampire.
Vampire Survivors, which is
Survivors.
the most lo-fi game ever. So
That's the one you said that I should check out.
no, that's V Rising, which you should definitely check out. Yeah, Vampire Survivors is that the one spoke
The
about.
$2.
Vampires are really having a resurgence.
They really are. So playing these big games, it looks great. Like Gus was playing God of War on this, and like can attest, it runs
Show me it again.
pretty well.
Yeah.
But what I would do with that is like that would be the kind of thing that I play on the couch to do some side quests or something when I want to pick up,
That's
but then go
nice.
back down
when
and
you're
do
playing big
the
open
main
world
stuff.
games and there's like little busy work things you could do.
Totally.
Yeah. You want to go play the
Or
story
like-
and see the cutscenes on your big monitor
Could,
and
I
your
play,
headphones.
could I play Destiny 2 on there?
No, you can't play Destiny, and that's because Destiny doesn't let you do it because they know that it can be hacked.
Because I just want to be able to like clear out my inventory. Like
It's that sort of
it'd
shit.
be great to do inventory management.
I reckon
Is
there's
there
on
a
the
browser?
couch
You
doing
could get
something
dim
else.
running on that.
Yeah, you could get dim running on it for sure. There's
I like
edges
to,
on it.
yeah, but I like to do it in my vault.
But the thing that I've been mainly playing on it is tons of indie stuff. And what I realized that at the moment the Steam Deck will be for me is really it's the Steam Early Access deck. It's like playing these games that aren't on Switch, that aren't on console, that are I've picked up for like $5 or $6 on the Steam store, as opposed to Gus was talking about like $30 on Switch at some point.
Money bags over here.
Money bags
Oh,
over there.
actively don't buy them. It's like
That's
that
true.
$3 Switch game is
Yeah,
now.
that's why your money bags, because you never buy anything.
That's
You
true.
got all the
I've
money
got a
still.
whole house full of money bags. You can't have them.
And I am just fucking loving the way that this has it is just, it's like a computer. Like the mouse functionality is fantastic.
That's very
This like
smooth.
trackpad mouse thing
Well, we
is
talked about the fact
amazing.
that we all have great PC rigs at home, and then when we jump on our PCs to go through the Steam library, there's a lot of games we might just push to a side, unless it's a Vampire Hunters 1 in a million, like this game is great. There's a lot of smaller indie things that Nick shared the same feeling. It's like you sometimes boot it up and you feel like, why am I playing this? Why am I playing Unpacking on my PC? This feels
In
like a lovely.
4K.
Yes,
yeah,
and-
it's like I
yeah.
prefer to play that on my.
And it's really
yeah.
this thing of like, and I think that in some ways it's a flawed thing from my perspective of going like, oh, why do I think that my time is not worth sitting down and playing, for example, a game that I'll talk about, like Peglin, which I'll talk about in a second, on my computer for half an hour when I could be doing something that's way more like involved and fantastic
Cyberpunk.
and whatever, yeah. And it's more like, it's almost like a mobile game. And so that's kind of where I'm like, oh, but on this, it's perfect. And this runs so many things so well. They're continuing to add support. The updates to the actual Steam Deck before I got it
Is the
have been
implication
amazing.
of that you would be doing something else at the same time?
Not really. I think that's the idea. It's like you might be on the couch or might be
I
taking.
mean, when I'm playing on my computer.
Yeah,
something
like
small.
because it's like that's an experience where you want to sit down and be fully involved at your PC. If you're not sitting at your computer and you're on the couch playing there,
Yep.
why is it like a different experience.
It's more about the kinds of games that I'm playing when I play these sort of small like puzzle games or something. I'm like, oh, I'm at this thing which I could be playing Elden Ring on right now, or I could be doing X, Y, and Z. And in my head, I'm like, these games, I like that they're more like pick up and play for 5 minutes and put down, and that's kind of not how I treat PC games.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, you've got awesome headphones, a big monitor, turn all the lights off. It's like you can immerse yourself in that.
totally.
Whereas, like, a puzzle game feels weird to do that all in.
So I've been
Taking
playing
the
this,
lights off, though.
and I fucking love it so much. And some of the things I've been playing on it, like on the way here, I downloaded Shotgun Kings on the train and started playing that. And it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to play that on any other platform. The real joy of that, the final thing on that, the real joy is the magic for me is that I am walking away from my computer downstairs and picking up my saves exactly where I've left off
it's great.
on something handheld, which we are used to on like Game Pass syncing cloud stuff, but not used to when it comes to like PC to something else. And that is really like, oh fuck, I can continue just playing Disco Elysium, which I never finished. So that's been fantastic. Anyway, the games that I've been playing.
So you're right. Versus picking up the Switch version finally and going, I'm not starting this.
I have to restart it.
Which I've run into
all
with a
that
lot of
shit.
stuff,
It's
and
all
it finally makes its way to handheld.
And now I'm just like, okay, everything possible I'm going to get on PC because I can now make it portable. Whereas before I was like, there are some things I'll have console because like I could play it on the TV upstairs. Anyway, this is all like weird insights into the way that my gaming life works. But suffice to say, if and when you get the opportunity to get one, I recommend because it's amazing. The things I've been playing on it have been some small cool stuff. The first one is Peglin, which is a cross between Peggle and Slay the Spire. So it's a roguelike Peggle game.
Like Peggle game.
Yeah. And so you get all these different Peggle, like pinball balls, and they all have different powers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you shoot them in the thing, and depending on how many of the little pegs that you hit, and the different power-ups that those pegs have, or some of them are bombs, or some of them are other abilities, they then do damage to enemies that are up the top of the screen that you're sort of fighting against. So it's your battle system. It is super cool. There's a demo on Steam right now. The full game, it's in early access. The full game's like $30, which I think is, again, I hate to make that. That's a lot of money for what this is, which feels like at $15, this would be exactly like a total easy recommend. For $30, I'm like, oh, you have to really like Peggle.
Did you ever play 10? I think it was called 10,000, and it wasn't Warhammer. It was.
Was it a mobile?
It was on mobile. It looked very similar, fewer colors, but it was more of a match 3 style game with a dungeon crawler happening in the top.
Yes, I did.
And
I did.
The better you did in the match 3, the more damage you did to the enemies to progress.
Well, then, and did you play? Is it You Will Build a Boat? Or?
You Will Build a Boat.
10 million it was called.
Yep. You Will Build a Boat.
It's like 6 cents a peg.
Harry Hatsworth.
6 cents a peg.
Harry Hatsworth is another example of a game like that. But this is really cool. It scratches that peg glitch, which is like such a fun pachinko mechanic thing, but with all the sort of like leveling up of like the different kinds of ball abilities that you get, because it is like Slay the Spire. If you just replace like the balls are cards and then the cards are balls, and you power up and level up those balls, and they get more abilities and stuff, and it's really fun.
Yeah,
so
I've heard
been
heaps of people raving about this and sitting at the top of Steam for a long time.
Yeah, it's been out for a while, and I've constantly been looking at it, but
I've
I think
never heard of it.
I didn't realize there was a demo, and as soon as I knew there was, because I was like, $30 is a lot of money for what this thing is.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. The second thing I've been playing,
I
because
just need to interrupt for 1 second.
you can just walk away.
Peggle 2!
Oh, yeah. That's how you said do it, Pete. And I was like, do what?
That.
Do you have the wine?
I do.
The second thing I've been playing is, because the thing that I've been playing the most on my Steam Deck is Vampire Survivors, on this incredible feat of hardware engineering that is just beyond anything we could
You could buy a
possibly understand.
Lamborghini. You still got to drive to the shops.
It's true. I'm paying a $2 game of what is essentially stolen assets. But a new version of like a Vampire Survivor like has come out.
Steph.
What's he doing? What's going on?
Some for Steph.
I was making a sad face.
Some for
Oh,
Steph.
because you wanted wine.
Yes, Gus.
I think this is the first Vampire Survivor like, and it's called 10 Minutes Till Dawn. It's another demo. The full game, which isn't out yet but is coming soon, is called 20 Minutes Till Dawn. So this is the demo of it, and it is, you are a little character who.
What are you?
You're a little person with a gun.
Okay.
And there are monsters around you, and you need to walk around and shoot the monsters.
What
and
are you?
you keep walking around
Is
and
it a
shooting.
bee? You look like a bee.
You do look a little bit like a bee. You walk around, you shoot the monsters, and you keep shooting them. You collect power-ups, and it's exactly the same as Vampire Survivors, except for the fact that you actively choose where to shoot.
Yeah, right.
Whereas in Vampire Survivors, you're just wandering around and auto-attacks the whole time.
I chose not to play this because it looked too much like the same colors as Shotgun King.
Totally.
I was like, that's all. That was all.
I actually love the design of this. It's super cool looking, and it is really, really fun. The ability to be able to pick where to shoot is great. The funny thing about it is I've seen a lot of people go like, oh, this is, it's just like Vampire Survivors, except you get to pick where to shoot. And I'm like, that's just a bullet hell game. Like, we've gone all the way back around to, you just made bullet hells again, and except you've put in like an upgrade system that is more like Vampire Survivors. But it's super cool. If Vampire Survivors is the kind of thing you like and you've played enough of that, check this one out. I really like the upgrade. There's like upgrade trees for different skills. So as opposed to just picking up this weapon and then you can just continue to get level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5.
Makes a big difference when those items, Risk of Rain style, like when they stack well and they really make.
Well,
you
this
feel
one,
like,
this unlocks like if you take this, we will now start offering you the next version. Not just an upgrade to this, but like a complementary thing to this, and you can complete the skill tree of this item if you want.
Nice.
And it's super fun to play, and it's very bite-sized. And the idea is, can you last 10 minutes? And in the full game, it'll be, can you last 20 minutes?
Is there a photography mode?
I mean, you could take your phone out, take a picture of it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. The only thing that I will legitimately ask is Vampire Survivors is, I think, not as good looking as this, but that kind of helps it in that it's very visually clear what's happening all the time. I'm almost getting that this is quite dark.
So our screen here is a little dark. It is definitely way darker, than Vampire Survivors, for sure.
Yeah.
Vampire Survivors is also just like, there is no vignette.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's just the screen.
Yeah.
And this, I was never like, oh my God,
Can't.
I can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
But everything is the same tone.
The eyes in the dark are cool as.
The eyes are super cool. And everything is the same tone. So there is a sort of like, enemies can kind of seem similar, and that can screw you a little bit because actually you'll get hit by something that's more powerful than what you thought it was because you thought it was something else. But it's still in early. No, it's not even out yet. They've just put out the demo.
But also that it is just looking geared at this point to be on PC. This is exactly the thing I'm like, well, I'm not playing this until it finds its way to Game Pass on with a controller, or onto a handheld. But that's perfect for what you've got.
But yeah, it's dope.
The only other question is the till with 2 L's. Is that deliberate? Are there any tills in it?
Did I
Or
write
is it
this?
meant to be a contraction? No. I looked it up because it was written as TILL, and I was like, shouldn't it be apostrophe TIL?
TIL.
I don't know.
But did they do any cashier work?
Maybe in the full game.
Yeah,
Maybe it's like you get to. I haven't been able to hit 10 minutes yet. I think my record is like 6 in this so far. So maybe at 10 minutes you like
end up at Woolworths.
I was going to say Walmart, but yeah, the same thing. Totally. And then you just do that. And so these are things that have been occupying my time on Steam Deck. And then the final thing I've been playing is not on.
Stampede for my seed just called you a fucking casual. First time they've said anything on this channel.
Wait, who called
Stampede
for
my seed?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow.
Comes in attacking.
Amazing name.
Wow. Stampede for my seed. Jesus Christ.
Stampede for my seed. Simba's down there.
Oh God.
Good. Okay. Well, they're either gonna never stop talking now, or they're never gonna say anything ever. The final thing I've been playing is not on the Steam Deck. It's on the Steam Deck that we all have in our pockets, and that is the phone. And it's a game called BeatStar. This is another game inspired by another game. This is a rhythm game. And we're not going to play any music because we will get hella DMCA'd.
Yep.
We'll show someone else's video.
Yep. And it is just using pop music. So it's using like super cool pop, awesome music. And it is scratching that like Rock Band, Guitar Hero note chart itch. And
I believe it's the Beat Saber itch these days.
Yeah.
That's probably the most similar.
And
Yeah,
it
cool.
is really, really fun. It is incredibly annoying microtransaction-wise because it's like, it has lots of great songs in it, but there's lots of packs that it wants you to buy and gems and rewards and all this annoying shit. And if you fail a level, it's like, do you want to pay 5 gems to continue doing the level, or do you want to just start the thing again? All this sort of shit, which is really annoying. But the note chart stuff is really, really good. This person is playing like this, maybe because it's easier, but also because of capture. It's designed to be played like with your thumbs on both sides. And it is, after the first few songs, it really does do the thing that Guitar Hero and Rock Band do, which is, weirdly enough, even though I'm just tapping a screen, I feel like I am contributing to the
They're
music
both hands
of that
now. I think
thing.
that was a tactic.
It could be a tactic.
Yeah.
I thought we were watching footage of my dad typing a letter to the editor at the city.
But it's great. If you like me miss these kinds of games, I heard them talking about it on the Waypoint podcast, and I was like, yes, I do miss this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then check it out. Get frustrated by the microtransactions like I have, ignore them like I have, and there are some cool, fun songs. And like all this stuff, it's like, I think the first song that I did was All the Small Things by Blink-182, and it's super simple. And then, but the song that I have gone, oh, this is the best version of this was like, it was the Chainsmokers. It was like a Chainsmokers song that I didn't know and never would have picked to play, but actually went, this is the most satisfying thing to feel like I'm contributing to the music in.
It's like Guitar Hero days where I didn't know a lot of Muse, and then I played it, and I'm like, this feels great.
This feels
I'm
great.
rocking out to
Totally,
the song
yeah.
I've just
Are
learned.
there difficulty modes and stuff? Can you play like super beginner
For gems?
version?
Songs, the things.
Yeah, it's the songs. I think it's the songs because the songs are classified as easy, normal, and hard. So it's probably just picking those different kinds of songs.
I can't put this on my phone because I've currently got the only games on my phone are on a fast screen where I swipe to, and it's Wordle, not words, crosswords.
Or Yoshi.
And it's like, I do them every night
play
with the
this.
glasses on the end of my nose, being like, mobile games for me now are like brain expanding. And then they'll be like,
It is true because it won't play any music.
Right.
But even just the app is like almost like futuristic in terms of like,
Yeah, right.
not the Space 8 part, but like,
Oh, God. Yeah, it won't go from the soothing sounds of like sipping coffee doing not words to being like sitting there furiously tapping.
no. And it does a really good job of like, it shortens the songs as well. So it takes like a 3.5 minute song and turns it into like a 90 to 120 seconds. Anyway.
It's gratifying though.
If you're looking for that thing, it's a super fun way to do a poo. All right, so those are the games that we've been playing this week.
I don't know if I could focus on
No.
once. Plus, I still don't have a toilet.
That's
so I'll
a
just be
very
playing.
stressful poop experience.
Yeah.
Steam Deck's too hard to carry.
It'll help you squeeze it out without even knowing.
That's true. Because sometimes it's not all the small things. It's just one big thing, and it takes a while. The Evil Dead, Umurangi Generation Special Edition, Warhammer Chaos something is what Peter's written here. Shotgun Kings, They Always Run, Peglin, Beatstar, and 10 Minutes Till Dawn. Those are all the games that we've been playing this week. We're going to be back with more video game talk. Can you believe it? After this short break.
Yeah, very specifically, the Game Club, Weird West. Stick around.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. There's a third one. Hey? What's going on with you? Hello? I feel surrounded.
Sick of being seen? Camo! Want to hide in plain sight? Camo! Want to spy on deer? Camo! Want to shoot those deer? Camo! Want to get close enough to a pack of deer that you could dress up as a deer, gradually earn their deer trust, become accepted as one of their own, wait until the stag dies and inherit alpha control of the herd, guide that deer herd for a decade until you're the most celebrated deer elder, and then shoot that deer and mount it on a fucking wall? Camo! Camo camping equipment. You've seen the rest, now try and find the best. You can't, because it's camo.
symbols. Strangeness, oddity, evil. But the West, it's also got heroes of a kind. A bounty hunter thought she could hang up her shooting irons for good. Thought wrong. A pig man, cursed. A monster in the eyes of his fellow man, but a monster with a past. His land's got guardians. Come west, tracking an evil wind across the plains. Liable to find it. It's got cowboys, drunk on the moon, trapped in a war for the heart of the West. It's got future seers, set to change what's coming before the sun sets. You see, you five, you're tied together. A purpose deeper than you know. The more you dig, the stranger it gets. Welcome to the Weird West.
Hello, welcome back to Back Pocket, and a very big thank you to Raddlesnakes and Amira, I believe is how I pronounce it, 1012, for your words from our sponsors. Oh, Christ, a third one.
There's 3 of them now.
Like Steph with the arm.
Or you with kids, I imagine.
There won't be.
They won't. Sorry, I didn't mean the third. I just meant, don't they just climb up and just sit around you when you're like on your bed in the morning and they're just all there?
There's never a third one.
No, I just meant, okay.
What if you have What if Banjo brings a mate over?
That'd be weird.
What, overnight?
Let's go sit on
Yeah,
Dad's
wake
bed.
up
When
and...
does sleepover start? That's Banjo's at sleepover age, isn't he?
Yeah,
No,
Pretty close.
He's ready to go to it, and
He's
then
at
calls and
wanting a
says, "I
sleepover
wanna
and then
come
being
home."
upset.
Yeah,
We do
yeah.
have people come and stay who have kids, and that's the best because it's actually like that's the sleepover because the parents are still
And
there.
the kid is their responsibility.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking. And in some cases, so are ours.
Oh, hell
It's
yeah.
like just shuffle.
Unless
Yeah.
both they and your partner are murdered at the beginning of a game.
Wait, the kids.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you,
Weird
Zodiac
West.
Killer? Oh, okay.
Tried.
Okay, I see what
Tried.
you did there. I wasn't done saying thank you to Kamo, but
Right.
now I am. All right, welcome to the very 10th Back Pocket Game Club.
The very 10th.
The Game Club is where we pick a game to play through on stream in its entirety. At the end of that, we then talk about that game and be like, hey, was that a good game to pick and spend 40 hours playing? Let's find out.
Let's pick a super short one next time.
The March Back Pocket Game Club title was Weird West, a systems-based immersive sim set in a West that is extremely weird. And speaking of someone who goes west, it's VegaBus, who will also take you north, south, southwest, northeast,
But never east.
northwest, south north, west 7, east gardens. Thank you, VegaBus, for sponsoring the Game Club. Because Uber.
Yep.
All right, Pete was lead on the game this month. Let's see how he went.
Shit. Let's go kill some steel warders. Oh, some of them go to sleep. Oh, perfect. And you blow up in your sleep. I'm a cowboy. Oh my goodness. Stay very still. You might not see me in here. It worked. Don't die from the poison, get out of there. Fine, we're fine. I know what I'm doing. We're professional. They're clever little beasts, aren't they? Large trunk. There's a monster behind me. What the fuck is that nonsense? Fuck, those like spooky surround sound voices scare me every time. I'm like, who the fuck is in my room? There's certain words that force you back into the accent. I ain't never sold to a pig man afore. Were they drinking rosé back in that days?
Let's say I've seen enough empires rise and fall.
You crazy bitch! I can't tell you nothing. He'll kill me. I think that accent's pretty fucking good. This ground is sacred. Well, we're gonna have to kill all those dudes, aren't we? Shotgun. Whoa, I got caught in Windies. What am I doing? Pig charge! I don't have enough. Yeah, see, there's your Woody. That's cute. That's a dry bar. That's a dry nut bar. Stupid cave terror. I shall make that strength mine. Prepare yourself. I'm prepared. I was not prepared! He threw my barrel at me! What a dickhead. Go Bear. Don't let Doris die. Doris! She got blast. Why did I grab a chair? Oh no, she's moon drunk. Oh, I just took a massive hit. Oh, the dive is cool. That's a freaky door. More chests lie before me than at my back. Where am I? Where the shit is this shit? Weird West. It's all over. You can go back to the east, where it's not so weird. Chad is right. I should leave us with one last yeehaw. Yeehaw!
We're gonna do the whole thing in action.
I do declare, Petey, it looked like you were having fun.
Oh, he's a dame from the south. I do declare.
I do declare.
Oh, I'm putting myself the vapors.
Yeah, it was a goddamn good time. It was a good time.
You explored all of the West
I sure did.
through 5 characters.
It is 5 characters.
Yeah.
It's 5 characters.
How did you find your time in the Weird West?
I ultimately had an excellent time. When I first started playing, I felt that this was not a game that I would always necessarily gel with.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I wasn't streaming it, if we hadn't picked it as a game club, I wouldn't have persisted with it. I would have had a bit of fun with the first character and then gone, I've seen what this game has to offer and put it down. And if I'd done that, I wouldn't have seen the true weirdness that this game has to offer. There's a really cool story, not always perfect execution. The game feels clunky to play at times, but the set pieces that it throws you away and the way that it ties all of the characters together and the decisions that you make throughout the playthrough of all of the characters, I think pays off really well, and was ultimately very satisfying.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I ran into the thing of I found it clunky to play, and I only got those few hours and went, I don't like the weirdness. I like the Westness.
Oh, you want it to be more authentic.
I wanted this to be a cowboy experience.
This is called West.
And while I appreciate that the story gets weird and fleshed out in a cool way, I wasn't gelling with any of the weird, the spookies, any of that stuff. Yeah,
None of the occult stuff landed for you.
No, because I get that by playing Divinity or something. Like I get
okay.
that in a fantasy immersive sim, but here I
Across
was.
the streams.
You can't cross the stream. You totally can. That just didn't gel with me. And then on top of that, I was playing on Xbox, so I was playing with the controller, and so I found clunky on top of clunky, and I ran into some really frustrating moments, mainly to do with the combat and the way it escalates. So I didn't get all the way to the weirdest part of the West, but my feel that I got through the Western role-playingness of it, the running bounties, I could feel myself hitting a wall and going, I don't want to go past this wall. I want to stay in the main town and do bounties and be a cowboy and go and run into these cool scenarios and hunt down gang members, but I didn't care for the occult side of it, and so, yeah, ultimately didn't get that far, or as far as I wanted to through it.
Yeah, okay. Steph, how did this one land for you? Because I feel like you love games like Divinity Original Sin, which this has DNA of that kind of thing in it. You also love the occult. But did this land for you when those things were mixed?
And you sang in that musical as a cowgirl.
Calamity Jane.
Calamity Jane.
Excuse me, I was Calamity Jane.
Sorry.
As a cow.
And
as the cow.
And from memory, there was a calamity during that performance.
Sure was.
Chaotic energy all through that one.
Yeah, I feel like it has DNA in terms of the sort of isometric viewpoint and the storytelling and stuff like that. But I think Divinity and Baldur's Gate and those kinds of games are very kind of Dungeons and Dragons based, and they're turn-based combat, which is a very different experience. You're kind of there to focus on the story, and then you're kind of mulling over the sort of combat decisions that you're going to do when you're choosing your spells and stuff like that. Whereas this is kind of more like twin stick shootery in the way that you go about the combat, and I find that is where the kind of clunkiness gets into it. I was wondering if it would be easy to play with a controller, and I'm feeling it's not.
I mean,
It's not, because I tried to.
I don't want to go too long into ripping on it, but yeah, for me it was the fact.
Rip on it.
Well, it was the fact that
We're here for.
when the combat kicked off, for me the most fun I was having was moving through an area and either stealthing and setting up scenarios and enjoying
Yeah.
it. What really broke it for me was that every time that would go wrong, it didn't feel fun. It always just got messy, and everyone would be alerted. And I compound that with the fact that I struggled with the camera and the sight lines, and nothing ever felt fair for me. I know that sounds whingy, but it felt like a lot of the time I was like, no, I was doing this the way it was. I wanted this to play out, and it never would.
Either it needs to, and I think maybe it's just because I haven't. It almost sits between genres, in that like a twin stick shooter, you do go in guns blazing, and you're just kind of blasting your way through and trying to kind of do stuff like that. And then in turn based, it's more considered, and you're making a choice that you're kind of mulling over, and then you watch it play out. Whereas this is kind of like there are elements of stealth to it, and you have to kind of plan your attack, but it sits in between those two things. And so often I would kind of go in and be like, all right, I'm going to try and sneak around the back here, and then go in through this way. And then, I would alert a bunch of people. And then, of course, it's one of those games that forces you to manually save.
Yep.
And so, which I'm terrible at. Case in point,
God, it
Premiere
improves
Pro experience this
when
week.
that part of your brain snaps,
Oh my
it
gosh.
improves so much more, and I made so much more progress through it.
And also, I think that it also...
But I hate
You-
it as a function. Like, why?
Because
why
I think it's
Because
actually
it has so
it's
many
the point
options
of the
of
game.
ways- yeah.
The point of the game is quick save, reload. And to your point, it didn't. A thing playing out not the way you wanted it to, is where you quick load. You quick save when you're accomplishing something that you want to,
the thing,
and then as soon as it falls apart, you go. And this is how I started to play it. Once I realized what it was asking of me and how I wanted to impact the game in the way that I wanted to, was that I have like a one button press quick save, and like this game would not be, I think would be nowhere near as effective if it didn't have that.
Sure,
if it was always reactive, but
Yeah.
it isn't asking you to do that. It is saying if you fail, I would just go, if I triggered guards when I knew I wanted to sneak, I would just go, all right, I'm taking this as an opportunity to scout. I'm just going to run around the base until I die, see as much as I can, and go, okay, now I've got a bit more information on my load.
Jump back.
And I'm going to stay stealthy, and I'm going to try and get through a little easier.
Plus, technical question on PC: is that quick load, quick save literally a button
Yeah,
press?
it is F5.
Yeah,
It's
So
F5,
on a
yeah.
console, it's pause and hold X to fill a ring.
Yeah.
So it
That's
is.
not that quick.
It's not that quick.
not that
It's quick, but it's not quick enough. And so I totally got into a pattern of doing that. But yes, you are right in the sense that it should make my brain go, save here, go back and reload. But it's a weird thing to rewire.
And you're right. I guess it's a muscle memory thing, and I take your point about the fact that it's about kind of playing through scenarios a bunch of different times. And then when you get to one that you feel like has worked out well, you can quick save and move on from there. But like, I don't know. I guess I'm just as an experience, getting used to that kind of gameplay is hard when I'm playing so many other games that just that autosave for you, and I found myself being resentful so many times when I would be successful in a massive, infiltration of a whole thing, and then, I get surprised with combat, and then I can't, and then at that moment I remember I haven't quick saved, and it's like you can't quick save during combat, and then I'm like, oh, I've just.
But I imagine the progress you made unlocks so much. There's so much stuff in this that I'm seeing that I didn't even get near in terms of different characters, different abilities, different posse members that you bring with you, and stuff like that. That I imagine really smoothed that out. Oh, well, to
it's
an
like it's
extent.
quasi persistent as well, because you move to a new character, you start fresh, you have nothing except what this character, and the deeper characters you start with better weapons than the first character did. But the first thing you do as that new character is you go and interact with the the last character you
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
Because to set it up for everyone who's unaware, you are an other that is possessing the body of characters in this West. You start with a bounty hunter, and it's a very traditional West setting. And you're
Family's been
bounty
killed.
hunting. You're a bounty hunter. Your family's been killed.
Kids have
True.
been killed.
No third arm.
No third arm.
Got to bury your kid.
But that is like that's. I think that's almost like that almost is a distraction to what the game becomes because and I feel like maybe it's what you've experienced a little bit is that it's like your brain is telling you this is a Western. And
My eyes are telling me.
your eyes are telling you it's a Western,
But yeah.
and it's a bounty hunter game, and blah blah blah. But it's really not, and it's only that first character that is.
Yeah.
So
and you
are
can
you-
still do bounties
so I was
later.
about to say,
but
what
you're not a
is-
bounty hunter, and it's so irrelevant.
And
it's
what, and
only
what
for
are the
money.
and so what are the mechanics moving forward? Because once I got into a rhythm with it, it was the same where I was like, at first I was kind of like, I don't like this, but then as I started to kind of get into the sort of familiarity of the experience, I enjoyed kind of picking up bounties and going to different places, and I like the fact that when you're going from one place to another, you can get sort of sprung. It reminded me of Goldfields back in the day. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to travel here. And it's like, surprise, you were attacked by coyotes overnight, and you have to, or you can choose whether or not you want to stop and interact with the.
Died of dysentery.
Yeah.
Yeah, die of dysentery.
Well, before getting too deep into it, we
I was
haven't
gonna
heard
say.
your opinion on
Yeah.
it.
Sure,
Your hot take.
First of all, great pants. Hadn't noticed those tonight.
Thanks.
Phenomenal. I was the first one that played this. I was the evangelist for it. I really loved it at the beginning. What I had was the feeling of I was 4 hours in or something and went, so much of this is my shit. I'm still kind of struggling a bit with the controls and the feel of what it is like to play this game. And it's not just a control thing, but actually like just the feeling of running around, the way that you shoot, how squishy you really are and all that sort of stuff. And I'd sort of put that down to like, I'm still learning this game and it'll just like gel out. And the more I got into it, I loved everything about this game except for the controls and the way that the game feels moment to moment when I'm playing it. And it ultimately kind of like, didn't turn me against it, but it pulled away from all the stuff that I really loved about it. And I saw Nicritex in the chat say the same thing. He was like, this is so my shit, but I couldn't get over the control scheme.
Yeah.
And I think it to me, it feels like a game that they had an idea and they had 70% of the budget and the manpower and the time and everything to be able to really smoothly execute this thing. Because I think if they really just hashed that part out, for me, this would be just such a home run the whole way. Because I fell off about halfway through. I think it doesn't help that you have to reset a character or like you start a new character and while you're starting a new journey, there's a mental thing where I'm like, oh, I spent a lot of the last 6 hours collecting
Also, you
and
spent a lot of the-
selling and upgrading.
You spent a
and
lot
to
of those
then-
hours mini resetting with little saves.
yeah.
It's been like
Well,
death by
but-
1,000 cuts, and then it's like, now here's a character
But
reset.
I mean, I love quick saving games. I save scum the shit out of these kinds of games because, I mean, they want you to.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is the joy. I played it exactly the same way as you, where I'm like my favorite experience was when there's early on when, and I think I spoke about it on the show, but there's a town where you can walk in and there's a mayor who basically like runs this area and you need to get a code out of the safe. And it was like, I did that sequence 6 times in 6 different ways. And each of them ended up me getting the code, but in a totally different way each time. And I was like, I love that stuff in games so much. But I think that character reset stuff, even though you end up starting a new character that's really interesting, mentally I'm like, oh, the game focused so much on me. This weapon is better than this weapon, so pick this, and then suddenly it's all gone, and I'm like starting that process again.
Yeah, but that process is that you go back to the other character and you take that upgraded gun off him.
True. I think that it's like, I guess it's like, I felt like I had latched on to this character and sort of like had taken them on a journey because I really feel like the storytelling within it.
How many characters did you play?
I did like two and a bit.
Okay.
The storytelling within it is so good of being able to, particularly I think that one of the great things was the I can't remember what it's called, the companion system, the like
Posse.
and
Taking other people with you.
And like early on, there's the guy who came. He was one of the guys that came and killed your family. Then you find him in a cage, and it's like, what do you want to do with him? And you can just like shoot him straight away. But I ended up talking to him, and he was like, I was forced into this situation, blah blah blah. and I ended up kind of taking pity on him and letting him go. And then I was later on in the game, I'm in a graveyard. I'm overwhelmed by these
And
people.
in they come,
He comes running in, totally saves me, and is like, I just needed to come and help. Like you did so much for me and blah, blah, blah. And like, and help me out. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And then I turned and I shot him in the head. And I literally picked him up and put him in an open grave and buried him because I was like, all right, like, we're square now or whatever. And I love that. And so I think that I'd gone like, that's the character that I've been building. And then boom, like reset, and all the things that have like, oh, I slowly built that thing up had been reset. So
Also, that's traditional Western.
That's
what you're playing.
sort of Western.
Nothing weird about what just happened there.
Because, like, really, you are this other character.
Yes.
And that's a very convenient way for a game to go, like, you're going to play 5 different characters in very different situations, and still your decisions are you, even though during the second character, even I was like, I'm going to play as I believe this character would. By the third character, I'm like, well, actually, I'm just me, and I'm playing as me in this body to achieve my goal, the bigger goal. And I found by the third character, I had thought it was really effective in that sense, in that you are just using these bodies to achieve your goal. Which your goal is unclear early, and it's only by achieving the character's goals that you're getting pieces of information about, this like more mysterious other that is actually you, but you're not even fully aware of that. And so I think the drip feed of the mystery is really well woven into the stories of these grotesque beings and seasoned bounty hunters.
The writing is fantastic as well. Like that's just,
it is
in
really
terms
good.
of the storytelling and how that's done, and even to your point, Nick, about the fact that it's like the writing is wonderful. It's not voice acted entirely, or like rarely. So it's like unless you got someone doing the voices for you, it's like you're reading it, and I feel like you're making more of it in your head.
When there's enough personality in the writing, it's
Totally.
like,
You're hearing that in your head. And then I do love sometimes when it's a hands-off approach to things you can do, especially in an immersive sim, those little story moments, they're yours. Like that happened to you and you alone. And it's like, again, outside of the overarching story, those little moments all feel so much more, I don't know, just like almost written, but just that they happen to you.
When you successfully finish an encounter in the way that you were hoping to, it feels like you did the thing that you had set out.
So I want to check because JMO had said in our Discord while talking about this, while I enjoyed what I played, I ultimately felt myself wanting more freedom. I often tried to go about things in either a stealth way or to find other means to complete a mission, but in the end it was always easier or encouraged to just go for an all-kill run. Feels like there's great potential for the next game.
Do you mean to be able to play more passively?
Yeah, that like
got in, got out.
Like kind of, it is a bit of, in my experience, was like once something goes wrong, it goes wrong. Like it's not like one. Sometimes it does. If you're inside or something, one person sees you and then
it's
you
rare
like,
that
I can break your neck and do that. If you're outside, it's kind of like if one person sees you, suddenly
it goes a bit hive
The
mind.
window mechanic as well, I found particularly annoying. So many people can see you through windows, and you're like, oh, come on.
And
man,
that's where
I'm
the
in this
camera
house.
wrangling gets annoying, and it gets a bit hive mindy when they all just go blink, and you're like,
And so, did you find that you were defaulting to a one playstyle, or were you going for more like how you think this situation needs to be approached?
Yeah, no, I feel like the game gave you set pieces.
Yeah,
and by like a few hours into the game, you understood what it was suggesting that you try.
There's a minecart right in it, and
or like you know that explosive barrels make a big impact. Why don't you? And here's a bunch of them. Why don't you put these in the path of the patrolling people and shoot that instead and cause mayhem that way?
Because I think the game is actually quite hard at the beginning. I
think
it takes a while to really, and I think that it might be to its detriment a little bit in terms of feeling like you can really experiment, because in the first part of the game, it really did feel to me like, oh, I can really only shoot people, because if I set something up and it goes wrong, I'm instantly just in like a gunfight. And it took me quite a while to be like, oh, I feel a bit more mastery over this environment.
And the reverse of that would be an area that you get to sandbox with and have a lot of fun with and learn a bunch of things you can do.
I would actually say it gets easier to gunfight and is as easy to stealth at the start. You just get better at it. You understand that the AI is a bit wonky and sometimes goes left and then you reload and they're actually going right, and it's like, oh, that's weird. Like,
I think I had
there's not
a lot of-
patrols in the way that we know video games have patrols. It's like there'll be a trigger, and then that was Scardy shaking. That.
Oh, right.
I had
Yeah.
a lot of dynamite-based bungles at the start, I think, and then also just like I would throw a stick of dynamite at a group of people, and there'd be a barrel, and I would be like, "Oh, this is going to take them all out for sure." But maybe one of them would be like, "See the stick of dynamite and move," or it's just that they were, more like chunky than I thought they were. Chunky
Yeah.
is the right word.
No, Chunky's the
No, Chunky's the
Cowboy.
perfect
Chunky
word.
than I
yeah,
expected,
Chunky
and so
Cowboys.
they just didn't all die, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I have not loaded my gun, so I haven't
Yes,
taken
yeah.
all of that, and be honest, give me a second here.
You're a chunky fellow. Just give me a moment.
I would disagree for the most part with Gemma. I'd never felt like I was restricted.
Yeah.
But I will say that there was the only thing that is, and I even felt really impressed by how the narrative beats that had to happen felt like I organically made them happen.
100%.
I thought that was really, really impressive.
Really good.
Except for one character, there was a very particular point where I was like, I have the skill at this game and the ability to manipulate the world in a way that should let me do something. I should be able to have a dialogue.
You can
with
say what
someone.
that is.
Oh yeah, I totally can.
Yeah.
So the fourth character is a werewolf. Fourth character, you go bounty hunter, pigman,
Pigman is yep. Natural progression.
and then it is the it's the river crossing, and then it's werewolf, and then it's like mage lady.
Yep.
So werewolf, second last character, deep into the game. I'm immensely impressed by the diversity of like the missions, the cultures, and the story beats. And I'm doing the werewolf one, and there is basically there's a war between the werewolves and the witches, the Oniris in the land, and you've seen these things around from moment one. These other characters, these types of characters, these other stories are happening, and suddenly you're a character in these other stories. It's really, really cool.
Very elegant. I really like that stuff.
But there's an Onirist prophecy that the world is coming to an end. You happen to be, and we're going full spoilers here, you happen to be an immortal that has been teleporting your body into mortals in an effort to basically split your soul across mortal bodies so that you can die finally because you're sick of living as an immortal. So you have devised a plan with the other immortals to test if you can get some of your mortality and morality back by living as mortals in the world, and then hopefully can die.
Are you just a race of immortal people, or are you just how? Do become immortal?
They became immortal by wishing on these ancient tomes that are even more ancient that is not explained.
Yeah. Okay.
So they had a wish. It was like Dragon Ball Z shit. They collected all the books and they made a wish, and it was the second last wish, and there's only one wish left in the books, and so they're basically going to try and. They're either going to try and make themselves mortal and kill themselves, or they're going to use the last wish to destroy everything because they can't stand living anymore.
Yeah.
Wish
Yeah.
regret.
Right.
Like super, super cool, dark fantasy stuff. And like, there's just these like cool overworld dudes. The Oniris are aware of a prophecy that this is happening. And I can't remember the reason that they and the werewolves are in disagreement. But both of them think that they're doing the wrong thing for the world. And they both want the world to continue, but they're against each other. But an Onirist, one of the really high-ranking ones, has infiltrated the werewolf camp. You were only like a lieutenant. There's a captain above you. If that's how military rank works, I'm not sure. I assume so.
Alpha.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say, you're a beta. And then the alpha is at the head.
Being promoted.
The Onirist has spun lies to the head, the alpha. We're going with these terms now. The Onirist has spun lies to the alpha. You can steal the Onirist journal that reveals all this information by manipulating the game in a way that it doesn't expect you to be able to. By knocking her out, putting her to sleep. As soon as you break in and pick up her book, she knows you did.
Yep.
So that but there was a way that I found to manipulate that so that she didn't know that I'd seen it. but had the information, but I couldn't deliver it to him. And so that meant that I had no choice but to continue on with the story as they saw fit, which was, he was like, she's trying to help us. You need to help me achieve her goal because she's on our side. And
But the game's like, nope, we're charging ahead in this direction.
yeah.
Particularly in a game that actually sold itself on the idea of like, you can walk up to a quest giver and shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
And that is a totally acceptable way to play. So, yeah.
That was like a really disappointing moment near the, like, you know, coming to the crescendo of the game. It's like there's a war about to happen between these two races that is like the ultimate fight of the West. And before you play the final character, which is a much smaller character, more interesting, you're entering dreams and you're not really in the West as much. You do go around the world, but it's like a more kind of like, like abstract character where the other four are you're in the world. Totally. The other one is I'm manipulating dreams, which is a really cool spin for the end, but less meaty. So it's like right in the heart of the meat.
Yeah.
Is this like really disappointing killer to all of the freedom that I've had. So ultimately, Jamo's point is true that like when you feel like you don't have freedom, that's the most disappointing parts of the game.
Yeah.
But I think it is really effective at giving you freedom throughout.
I also really, really liked the occult stuff because I know that we see it all the time in fantasy things, but the way that we see it in fantasy stuff, to me, it's just like, it doesn't even register anymore. Like fantasy stuff is like, it's not even fantasy anymore. Fantasy stuff is just reality in that world.
Video games.
Yeah, it's just like, that's
what the norm.
All these worlds are like, they're all elves and they're all dwarves and they've all got the stars and the things. Whereas when you put it in the West, there's something very...
It was totally original. It just didn't gel with me, but you're
that,
right in the sense that it is a unique take on putting those laws together and creating something relatively unique.
And I think it did a great job mood setting in each, or like in all the vignettes I played, of this is a world where everyone has accepted that weird shit goes on.
Yeah.
But also like we're not 100% comfortable with this, so we all kind of silo up because it's like, well, we know most of the people in this town can't turn into some weird like fish ghost and swim off down a river, but strangers who come in could be that.
Yeah.
So
that's why they're wary of
strangers. And
it's not the traditional Western just I don't trust you. It's like not be aware.
Totally. Like you might be an asshole, or you might also be an occultist. And like lots of the sort of like there was lots of dismembered stuff and like all that sort of stuff where I'm like, yeah, this is the shit that I hope goes on in Texas.
And you become quite familiar with the like I guess for lack of a better term, it's a very video game term these days, thanks to Minecraft, biomes.
Yep.
It's like there's the Onirist underground like artifact stuff, and there's the pigman swamp areas.
Piggy Swamp World.
And there's like and then there's Classic West and there's Graveyard West and there's but I think like beautiful art. I really enjoyed my time with it way more than I thought I would. I found that the RPG systems of it were not ever in the way of the story, and I think the story is the most important thing. The mechanics of the combat are disappointing and at times so annoying that you're like, you might put the game down entirely, and I think that's totally justified. And I'm glad I had a reason to persevere because, again, as I said, I don't think I would have had I not been encouraged to by the GameClub, and then I got a really satisfying experience out of it.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Do you reckon you would continue this if it was more like a traditional RPG and it didn't have that?
I don't think so. No. I think it's just I think for me, I really enjoyed it and I appreciated it, and I think as I got over that initial thing that I think a lot of people have an initial reaction to this is like, oh, I'm not going to enjoy it, and then as you start to kind of get into a groove with it, I'm like, I actually am enjoying the kind of the game progression, and I'm enjoying the story and the kind of the hook of it, and I think it's really stylish in its design and stuff like that. But I think it's just that it's the kind of game that I think I don't think I would dedicate time to play over other games.
Yeah, fair. Well, that was Weird West. A very strange game in I think a positive way. I think that it's like, with the exception of the control system, I think it does so many things really, really well and takes a swing in a kind of a kind of game system that we don't see too much of. Like I love these really systems-based games that let you really fuck with them. And I think that for the most part, like you said, it does execute on that vision of going, you can really like do whatever you want here.
It's a gamble because it flies in the face of directed cutscenes and moments and curated things that we experience in games. Like the developer going, "This is exactly how you're going to see it either through gameplay or cutscene." Whereas here it is
because we see that stuff now in games like Rust or like or Valheim, where you got you've got this just space to go and create your own story in. To have a narrative in that and still make that work is impressive. So yeah, I'm keen to see what else they do. I'm always interested in whatever people who used to work at Arcane are working on now. So good. We also ran a competition for this, as normal for the Game Club. Ran a competition where we're giving away a copy of Game of Your Choice and a Game Club notebook as the prize. The competition was to answer the question, which direction is the weirdest and why? And we've got 3 runners-up. The runners-up get nothing except for praise and acknowledgement on this show. The winner gets the whole kit and caboodle. So, Pete, will you read our first runner-up, please?
I sure will. And it is from our objectively most attractive viewer, a pawn called Bishop. There it is.
Most attractive bishop.
Most attractive Bishop. Absolutely. Sorry, obnoxious Bishop, if you're watching. There are 2 bishops!
It's like the only viewer that we can think of that we have 2
Yeah.
pretty similar and we totally ragged.
So a pawn called Bishop said, Widdershins, also known as the name you give going counterclockwise if you're not a coward. Going clockwise makes sense. Clocks are orderly record keepers, and it is therefore right to follow their lead. To go Widdershins is to embrace the whims of chaos, to travel roads strange and unknown, at least for 360 degrees, and then they're pretty known again.
That's good.
Wow.
Widdershins is a great word.
It is a
We
great
got to
word.
use
I've
that.
never heard
more.
that before.
I learned it
'cause
during
you're
my
a coward.
witchy days. It means counterclockwise or backwards.
Yep.
Okay.
Why is it witchy? You know, because the
Because you walk in circles a lot when you're doing witchy stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
What?
You got 2 ways to go.
You walk Widdershins.
Yep.
That's
Go the right way or the
That's
Widdershins.
the powerful way to walk.
There it is.
Widdershins.
There it is.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
good. We're gonna-
Nice.
yeah. Okay. Maybe
Gotta
a
try and
post
use
show
it
is
in
learning a little bit more about what you did as a witch.
Witchcraft.
That's interesting.
It's
Yeah.
just Witchcraft special.
Yeah. Gus.
The next runner-up was Lyle, who says, the weirdest direction is One Direction is the weirdest direction because there's 4 of them.
Good point.
I mean, there's 4 regular directions, but they're not also in a pop band, so...
Well, I guess maybe they're all heading in one direction. Like all 4
All
of
4
them.
directions are going in one.
Yeah.
And that's very disorientating.
Except they weren't because they split up.
There you go.
Devastating.
Pretty brutal.
Harry for
Harry
best
was
thing-
the one.
It's the
Harry
best
for
thing.
one.
It was the best thing
the
for
one.
Harry's career. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We wouldn't get watermelon sugar.
The Watermelon Sugar High.
Yeah, Watermelon
And that
As
latest
it was,
one.
the latest one. It's a
Yeah,
pop.
yeah.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pop tune.
I hate watermelon
Sure is a
sugar,
pop
but I
song.
always think
Yeah,
that I
watermelon
hate
sugar
it.
sucks. It
It
actually
feels
sucks.
like the most generic. Like I feel like somebody was like, "Do this song," and he was like, "Yeah, all right," and he didn't even look at it. He was
It's just
like,
like
"I'll
there's
sing
only
that."
2 lyrics in the whole fucking song.
And what the fuck is watermelon sugar?
I'll tell you in the post show.
Lady's orgasm. Apparently.
It's a sex
Is
thing.
it?
I was going to hold...
It's a sex thing.
Bring the card up. Bring the card up.
Do we have a card?
No.
No. What, Will better
why
be
he wants-
watching. We need a card.
Yeah, it's that.
It's a sex
I was going to save that for post show.
Finally.
What a card.
A third runner up.
Well, no, but I don't know what kind of sex thing it is.
She didn't hear him say it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
discuss it later.
Yeah.
But the audience did, so they won't stick around.
Are they gone?
They can
You can
keep
go
it
to
to
bed.
third as well.
Third runner-up.
Third runner up.
Third runner-up is from Ice Meister,
Ooh.
83. And they said the weirdest direction is south. Because as far as I can tell, people get weirder the further south you go. I'm from Queensland, lol. Also, if you go far enough, you just end up in a barren white land that you will die in if you are not well enough, equipped, or prepared. I was like, Australia?
Fair.
You're also far enough away from Hex and others so they don't club you to death like a seal.
There you
Also
go.
fair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Clubbed a lot of seals. Clubbed a lot of seals for Red Hunger.
going south. Somehow it felt
Feels like going downhill.
All right. And then
We're being trees, but not the ones we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, no, not Evil Dead trees.
Nick?
The winner?
It's
Nick, have you
just
got a winner?
when you guys get on your Lord of the Ring quote kick,
Yeah.
it like you just go really hard. It's adorable.
All right, Tay-Tay.
It's yeah. Okay, yeah, fair. The winner of the Back Pocket Weird West Game Club competition is Jack Carson.
Hey.
He says the weirdest direction is down the rabbit hole. 1 second you're watching a video on how to set up dual monitors, and the next you've spent 3 hours watching videos on squonks, a cryptid in the northern Pennsylvania forest that knows it's ugly and will dissolve into a pool of its own tears if cornered by a hunter. And I agree. The amount of times that I've looked at my YouTube history for like, I've gone halfway through a video and I can't remember the name of it, so I'm gonna go back and find. And then as I go through my history, I'm like, how the fuck did I end up watching that? And then you just see in reverse the this is how you got to watching
The climbing
that video.
out of the rabbit
There was
hole.
a
It's
reply-
always
Squonks, though, is
There
it?
was a
it always
reply
ends up
all
as
episode on YouTube history, and then I blanked it and forgot about it. And the other day I was like, I can't remember what I searched, and Peter was just like, go to your YouTube history, and I was like, where is that?
Yeah.
And I just never used it. And then once I went down there, I was like, who am I?
no one needs to see this.
Well,
but me.
especially when you go through a really obsessive like video after video after video, and you're like, did I do that? Like, did I watch all of that?
And also
What?
because like
What's wrong with
a
me?
lot of my YouTube history is like Fantasy Premier League, Fantasy Premier League, and then just like 10 videos where it's like, I can't even say that on the show. Fantasy Premier League. It's just like, what is happening in this? Like, where did
Scene
this come
missing
from?
blanket. It's like a
So well done to Jack Carson. You win a copy of the game of your choice as well as a copy of the Back Pocket Game Club notebook to make notes on the next Game Club game. We don't know what that is because the release schedule is a little bare coming up.
It is.
It is, yeah.
It's hard to pick these games.
Let's pick Vampire Hunters or Shotgun King or something.
Yeah, let's pick something you could finish in let's pick
sitting.
20 minutes to die.
There you go.
For the next one, we should pick something a little more.
Concise.
Yeah. All right. Pete, can you give us a yeehaw to get to our next commercial break?
Let me cue it first. Let me cue the commercial. I think Mitchell Clark says someone's going to send in queef as their word from the song. If please do.
Please. That's what we're talking
In inversion and just go.
Yeah. Next time you want a mint, reach for a deaf mint. Disclaimer, deaf mints aren't actually mints. Eating a deaf mint is tantamount to and quite literally is cannibalism. Where would you even start? If you were going to eat a human, starting with the head, that means you're straight up copying a mouthful of hair, and that's no way to eat a person. You should start with the feet, nibbling on each individual toe just to get used to the taste of human flesh. Then work your way up to the ankle. The shin is mainly just bone, so you won't fill up too fast like bread at the start of a meal. Then it's just one mouthful at a time until you get to the neck, and yes, now you're heading into head territory.
But by this time it should all seem pretty normal and you're thinking, well, I've just consumed a whole man. What harm is a small amount of hair going to do to me now?
Deaf mints, available at the candy aisle in all participating supermarkets. I'll give you 4 sound effects that you can just grab, and then you can play them while you're playing the game. So this is the thing running.
That's running. Running?
This
That
is
was running.
This is screaming.
and then this is
I think that was your voice clipping, not the mic.
So then this is eating someone.
Sorry, I did it again. This is really funny.
I just did it in time with the game. That was wonderful. and then this is the sound of when I put a lovingly hateful tentacle up against
that hand is.
up against the wall of the cubicle.
Incredible.
Amazing.
It makes it, and you can have that game for €3 a month if you go to Jepp's Patreon.
Well done, Jepp. Thank you very much to Belly Kate and Jepp for the words from our sponsors there. And Deafmints, of course, for your continued support. Realize we should have come back with you going, ha.
I should have. I finished mid-ad.
All right. We're going to do a very quick plug for someone that we see in our dreams. That's Dream PC. Because if you can dream it, we can build it.
We being Dream PC,
We being
not
Dream
us.
PC. I mean, we could. If Dream PC was like, hey, you know how Bajo has a computer
I'm aware.
with a sponsor that we will not mention.
From a competitor.
Yeah, from a piece of trash.
Yeah, it's shitty computer, yeah.
Dream PC could come to us and be like, hey, do you want a back pocket computer? We'd be like, hell yeah. But actually what it is we need to build the computers that people buy on the Dream PC website. And we just, like that would,
And then we keep them.
And then that would
keep
make
'em.
us liable
And also you said
for any
we-
kind of build issues.
That's true. Like if we gave it to you or Gus.
Improperly seated RAM.
Yep.
No.
I will static that baby up for you because that's what I'm good at with all this hair.
Yeah, it's because of all those weird gloves you wear.
That's true.
And if you want to buy weird gloves, don't head to Dream PC. But if you want to buy Dream PC, do head to Dream PC. Because if you could dream it, they can build it, easy to configure PCs via their website, bespoke systems, built to order, authorized Australian market parts seller, and live updates via their build tracker, which will tell you exactly how many back pocket hosts are working on your computer right now. If you want a computer, go to go.dreampc.com.au/backpocket and get the best goddamn computer this side of, I don't know, I don't want to make any claims that can't be backed up, but you know, money can buy you anything. So
This
I'm going to
far
say this
south.
side of anywhere.
Yeah, this side of the rabbit hole.
Yeah, good.
yeah.
Can't prove that. Because
Can't play that
the other side of the rabbit hole, what have bunnies ever built? Fucking nothing.
Nothing.
More bunnies.
More bunnies.
Many Warrens.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh,
okay.
they do build a
And
good
Dream
Warren,
PC
don't
don't
they?
make Warrens. I've spoken to him. Nor a Warren inside.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Mary.
How much for your
Mary.
Warrens?
I think like we gave them exactly what they paid for this month with that conversation. So well done, Dream PC. Thank you very much for your continued support. God damn it. If anyone wants to buy a PC because you can't get a Steam Deck, go to dreampc.com.au.
Let him try and make a Steam Deck, a Dream PC deck. Challenge put forward.
You could take it to Gaben. That is such a good idea because like these things are not coming to Australia for like at least a year.
Yep.
Sounds
Dream PC deck?
So expensive.
I'll see the RAM.
Possible.
It's a dream deck.
Oh my
Dream
god.
PC are like, all right, cool guys, move on.
No, he said Dream Deck.
Dream Deck?
No, he said I'm making one for each of you.
What?
Incredible.
Trademark.
Only one for each of us? Fine.
All right, and while we're waiting for our dream decks to arrive, which will probably be sometime next week, let's move on to our final segment of the show, and that is a little something we like to call the game of life. Presented by Jepp. It's a Jepp thing.
It's if it does, it's just 12 hours long, the end of it.
Well, we can talk about it. Oh, it's gone. It should have been longer.
We haven't done this
That's
in a while.
the period where you're supposed to talk about Jepp.
Yeah.
That's what that's for.
Thank you, Steph.
Jepp's cool.
Yeah, Jepp's great. You
Jepp
know what
makes-
Jepp hasn't done though? Made his fucking dream deck.
Made a game to run on a Dream Deck.
Gus, that game could run on anything.
That game will run on my heart.
Also, we haven't done this segment in a while, and I forgot the baby pockety is on there.
Yeah, designed by Coastal.
Yeah.
Designed by Coastal. Tell them what they want, Nick.
Presented by Jepp.
Presented by Jepp. It's a Jepp thing. He's the cool guy.
It's a Jepp deck.
Woohoo!
The Jepp deck.
All right.
Steam Jepp.
Steph, start us off with your Game of Life tip.
Oh, sure.
Oh, wait, sorry. No, stop. The Game of Life is a segment where we, see what I'm doing? Adding context to some of our weird segments.
Lovely.
The Game of Life is
Is
a
this,
segment.
I'm sorry, is this based on feedback from our town hall meeting?
It is indeed, Stephanie Bendix.
For our Patreons? Patreon subscribers?
Head to patreon.com/backpocket.
If you want to attend meetings.
If you want to attend me and fix us as
With
people.
gongs.
We had a lot of great feedback, great advice.
So
was
good.
good fun.
It's
We had a great
being
chat.
executed.
It's awesome.
We literally had a conversation about one of those things before we went live, and we all went, yes, that's definitely something we should do.
Totally.
The Game of Life is a segment where we give you a tip on how to improve your life in a small or big way, whether it be something that can help you be happier or something that you can spend your money on or your time on or a way to eat bread that no one else has ever done, then we got you in a segment we like to call Hit It, Pete, the Game of Life. Presented by Jepp.
It's a Jepp thing.
Multifish is how do I eat bread better?
cool
Correction,
guy.
Pete did not offer a way to eat bread better. He offered an alternate way to eat bread, and to many, I would say it is a worse way to eat.
I would say he offered a way
that's
to
the
eat
best way.
0 bread and just crust.
You're getting.
Shut up, Pete. Steph,
Yeah, how'd
your
you
Game
find?
of Life.
Yeah, I brought a prop for show and tell.
How exciting.
Because I have a little to-do list pad which I buy on the internet because I'm very particular about to-do lists. I have ADHD, so I find being organized very difficult and keeping track of things and existing as a human person in day-to-day life. So
Really ramped up the.
yeah. So
Quickly becoming relevant. What was the-
not turning up to things, being late, letting people down, in general, is a thing that I've had to kind of deal with. And keeping a complex system of lists is part of it. I have a list on my phone. I have lists on my computer. I have a list on paper. I have lists everywhere. But I find that as life becomes more digital, everything's kind of moved online. I really enjoyed keeping a paper diary back in the day when you had like a file of facts or like a school diary and stuff, and you put your appointments in there. But it's just not practical for modern life. I use a digital diary now. Even our sort of grocery shopping list, we keep on our phones because we have one that we share that we can cloud put stuff on there so that if you're already on your way. But when it comes to writing stuff down, you do. There's a kind of a process in writing things down that kind of commits to your brain in a different way and kind of helps you kind of map out your way of thinking about things. I think that is still helpful, and so I definitely keep a written to-do list. It's the kind of one of the last things I write by hand, apart from like thank you notes and stuff. And I find that if I'm just doing it on like a random piece of paper or whatever, it's like it's not special. But more than that, this is a to-do list that, and I've had a few different versions of this, and this one's my favorite because I've actually gotten to a point now where I buy buy this one from Etsy. But you can get ones that are divided up into like different sections. Don't laugh at me, guys.
It's so lovely. It is such a Steph thing to have a specific favorite type of to-do
I know,
list.
but
No,
you-
I
but you
find
don't
it
know what
really
it's like to
endearing.
live in my
shoe
brain.
shine boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hear my tip.
Yeah, you and your particulars. Let's not dive.
I love it. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
once you've lived my chaos, you'll do anything, Gus, to try and make order of it and organize your life. So this one has like tasks and it has little check boxes, but I ignore them because I enjoy the strike through.
Strike
That's
through is fun.
Yeah.
Ticking next.
Why
to it
write
is
something if
quite-
you can't scratch it out?
Yeah, because that's like I've done it. But then it also has like today's goals, so you can put some goals there if you have like specific things that you want to achieve or prioritize. And then you have important times. You've got phone calls or like meetings and stuff, which is good because I always have calendar meetings, and then I always just like I start editing and then I forget them, and then I get 4 emails being like, Steph, are you going to jump on the call? Hey, Steph, if you're running late, just let us know.
Hey, Steph, here are the minutes from the call.
Yeah.
Hey, Steph, next call next week coming up.
Yeah. Steph, here is a revised calendar event for the meeting. Oh, God damn it.
Every morning is like, what are you doing today? Well, I got a meeting at 3, and then at 3:10 I'm at my computer and I hear dun 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 dun. Oh shit!
It's because my agent has called me and been like, Steph, I've been stalling for 10 minutes.
Oh, God.
Awful.
You have 5 minutes to
Then you have like unfinished tasks to do later. But this is just one version. There are other versions where you can have like glasses of water. You can have like if you don't
you
drink
take
the
off
coffee,
right.
you can
Oh,
take
right.
off.
Yeah.
There's ones that you can
Nick?
be like
Fuck off.
appointments or like there's a million different versions of these out there. Kiki K used to make a few of them, but I think they've gone to receivership because no one buys stationery anymore. So I get
Well, it's
this.
because you started going to Etsy and you put them out.
No, I went to Etsy because Kiki K went out into receivership.
So can I ask the choice, not a judgment, of a notepad as opposed to a book?
Because I liked it needs to be
You get rid
able
of-
to tear it off.
Okay, right.
So
So you
Done.
can't check back on old things you did. That's
That
gone.
day's dead to
day's
you.
done.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to. Once
Okay,
it's done,
cool.
process.
yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah. And I don't
You
want to
would
have to open
transfer
the book and
unfinished
find the
across
page.
to the next page, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to me, a book is like a journal or a kind of a something that you want to keep all the past.
Too much
stuff.
pressure.
Yeah, that's where I want to put notes or thoughts and ideas and dreams about the world. But this is for tasks.
This is for meetings
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah.
not going to attend.
Yes.
The best part about that
Because
list
how
is a
many
strong-
trees die for the sake of the notebook?
The best part of
then
that
use
list
the
is
back of it.
scrunching it up.
This is less trees than a notebook.
I use,
less trees.
I use the back of it for other
Just
stuff and then
kidding.
research.
I
Why,
have
for
trees
Christ's
too.
sake?
I'm just kidding.
But the most satisfying part of that list is scrunching up a day and putting it in the waste paper bin.
I like
Day
to fold
done.
it in half once.
Oh,
And then
What?
Because then I do
No.
use the back of it to write other things on.
Oh, okay. No,
And
that's
then,
fair.
notes and stuff. Sometimes if, and also like if I'm sending parcels back, I'll fold it over once and I'll use the back of it to write the address on and then I tape it.
so if you get a parcel from Steph, check the note and you might have a list of things done or not done, meetings missed.
Send parcel, but it's not scratched out because it hadn't been done.
Yep.
Because she had to fold it and put it
Amazing.
on there before she could scratch it off.
Yeah.
Good. I love it.
That's my game of life.
That's good.
you've been
That's
doing
good.
lists
really good one.
forever.
I have.
Gus,
Sure.
let us into madness that is you.
So the way I'm dealing with the current madness in my life is I've started my mornings, my very early mornings, because I mentioned earlier at the start of the show, I'm doing a reno at the moment, which means I've got tradies turning up at all hours, mainly 7 o'clock in the morning, which means I've got to be up early, and I don't have a shower. I now start my mornings with a brisk walk around the block. It sounds very old manny, but I don't have a shower, so I need somewhere to wake up because you cannot just get out of bed without a shower and put clothes on and start your day. So I've started.
Like a disgusting animal.
Really, it genuinely feels like that. So I've started doing that.
sweat.
And I'm fascinated by how much it's not only waking me up, but kind of like getting the ball rolling more so. Because technically, not technically, if I have a shower, I go and stand in the shower and sleep. Steph, back me up on
Oh,
this
yeah,
one.
no, I sit down.
Yeah, it's like.
Immediately.
And sleep.
So
And doze, lightly doze.
Yeah.
you go from being asleep to sleeping in to dozing in the shower to slowly waking up with a coffee. A brisk walk has, holy shit, jump-started my day now. So I am up, I get out of the house when the tradies turn up, and I go for like a 10, 15-minute
Define
podcasting.
brisk.
Like, I'm power walking. Like, I can't be...
I'm power walking.
You better believe I'm going to swing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing those ones out the front, you're like... doing that stuff.
Are you getting a hip wiggle in there?
Yeah, a little hip wiggle.
Oh, yeah.
Some Kath and
Are you wearing weighted ankle wristbands?
One foot has to be on the ground at all times.
I don't go
Are
for
you
a
talking
2-hour
to
run.
Are you talking to another wife as you walk?
As I go along. I don't... If the motivation was to get up and go for a jog, I'd be like, I don't want to.
That's true.
So that's why I've been going for like, you know what? I'm going to go for a 10, 15-minute walk. I'm going to walk as fast as I can. That's not a jog. And at the moment, it's getting chilly everywhere in Australia. So it's like, it's really refreshing. And I get home and have a coffee. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love a shower after that walk.
Sure.
So when
'Cause now not only are you dirty, but you're dirty and sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a way that's, I'm awake, so it feels better about it. But I would love to jump
In a way, I'm just like enjoying living in my filth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't do it straight away. So I'm going
So
to
you're
try.
so you're sweaty and dirty when you film these men. Is what you're saying. Yeah.
But my plan, and I never stick to my plans, I need a to-do list, is to, when I get my shower and everything's back up and running, I'm going to try and keep up these morning walks if I am getting up early. Because it's been great, and I've been far more on top of things at the moment, so it's a good routine to get up. Don't start by setting yourself going to the gym or going for a run, and just be like, get out there and do a 10-minute really fast walk, or
Yeah.
like,
Achievable goals.
achievable, and then it's actually enjoyable, like a run at the start.
How
doesn't feel
fast these walks are.
I'll film the next one.
Yeah.
He's
but
just
yeah.
saying that he's not going for a meandering stroll.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's separating
You're a
it.
very hilly area. I can't imagine you walking fast up those hills.
Coming down them though.
Yeah, that's why you're going fast. Falling and
is
walking
fun,
are
yeah.
not the same.
I go for a morning fall. But yeah, and it's been really good. I've been doing some work earlier in the morning, and that's been massively helping it. So
good.
there you go. Morning brisk stroll in the cold air. Peter?
Lovely. We must look for the mountains.
Oh, you
Lots of
just
cold air.
must. You simply must.
I'm going to sell a product.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm going to, after the fact,
Oh wow.
implore the company to give us money.
Oh yeah.
Reverse sponsorship. Let's see how this plays out.
Let's see how this plays out. Elgato just released a key light mini,
Oh yeah.
and it's a good size. Their previous lights are stupidly big. They're redundant. They're so big for a desk you're sitting 70 to 80 centimeters away from this light source, and they released these panels that were this freaking big. They just released a thing called the Key Light Mini. It is a great size. It's the size of the lights that I was using before.
It's like the same size as our Seven Eyes or whatever they're called. The
Falcon Eyes.
Falcon Eyes F7.
Yeah.
So the Falcon Eyes lights are
But the Falcon Eyes have RGB though, right? The key light does not.
correct. The key light does not have RGB, but the Falcon Eyes runs off battery.
Yeah.
And you can plug it in to power it, but if it's on white light, it's using battery faster than it's charging it. It will go off. The Key Light Mini can be turned into use the power source. It does have a battery built into it, like a lot of, it's built to replicate the kind of format of an on-camera light is what they are. It's something that you would slot on top of a DSLR or whatever if you're shooting, or on top of a bigger camera. And it's a light that's attached to the camera, and that's what they always were, and that's why they had a battery or a slot for a battery. And changing batteries when you're streaming, because streamers stream for hours and hours. For me, when I was doing
Not practical.
when I was doing the 24-hour Destiny stream, it turned off after 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
It's like there was 4 hours of battery life.
There's
even
4
when
hours of this at 50% brightness, so by that logic, 2 hours at full brightness.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it
when
can
it's
be
running
quite-
off power, it's on.
Yeah, cool.
It is sucking power the whole time, and it is using the power to turn the light on. It also ties into the Elgato's like Wi-Fi things. They've got a Stream Deck. It ties into all that stuff, which is cool. But it can be used with buttons on the side of it. It's a mechanical light still, so it's not just Wi-Fi, which I hate. Anything that needs to talk to Wi-Fi systems is just crazy. It's not a V-Lock battery. It is smaller than a V-Lock battery. The light
Why is that
itself-
funny?
V-Lock battery is gigantic.
Those huge. Like,
They have they're literally
click
a
in?
V shape.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Right.
Not funny.
It is.
I don't think anyone.
Yeah, but imagine if instead of who said it? Who said it?
Black Death.
Black Death. Imagine if Black Death said, "Is it the same as the slip tool?" You'd be on your fucking back.
Is that an edit joke?
Yeah, it's an edit joke. It's a great one.
So the Mini is the perfect size for sitting in front of a desk. I got one because I wanted a thing that I know the light's not going to turn off. You don't need to be a streamer. It's good. It's a good little light if everyone's on Zooms for their meetings and working from home. So if you need a light, I would recommend it.
I want you to come. I'm going to pay for you to come to my house.
Yeah.
I have a Seven Eyes.
Yeah.
Falcon Eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know why it doesn't stick in my head. I've got a Falcon Eyes.
Yeah.
I've got an Elgato key light,
light, the big
and I've got an Elgato ring light.
Yeah.
Now, these are not all on at the same time. I can never find the thing.
Yeah.
I just don't have whatever it is. Like, I find lighting so difficult. So difficult. And every time I turn it on, I'm like, it looks like shit.
I
Like,
think
it
lighting
always
is fun. I think sound sucks.
Sound is the worst.
But I also think that you just need an abundance of lighting tools at your disposal at any given moment.
You have enough lighting.
I do.
You do, and we mentioned it before. It's like it depends what time of day and how much you've got natural light pouring into your space.
I can shut it off. I mean, that's the main thing.
No,
I can
you
shut
don't
it off
want to,
because
but
I
it
don't
means that
want
when
to.
your lighting
Just
looks like
damn.
great that night or in the day, it looks shit that night.
Yeah,
It's just it's always a struggle. It's never going to be a press and one shot and go kind of thing unless you're in a space with no light.
Well, hopefully Elgato end up paying us a lot of money to talk more about how good these little lights are.
Sure looks good.
And also, the show does look good. And also send us like 40 of them. I'm going to promote.
Are you going to have all 40 in?
Oh, you know.
Finally,
Come
just
work
like-
me.
looks good.
Turn off 20
And your
of
kids are
them.
up, your family's upstairs having dinner,
And there's a
the
light
flipsel goes
shooting
off.
upstairs through the
floorboards.
You come up, Kramer, just like, Daddy's been streaming.
all these sounds are creaking and cracking. It's burning my brain. Yes, I'm going to, and then to round us out, I'm going to advertise a store. And that store is, have you been to your local Spotlight anytime
Oh,
recently.
wow. Interesting. Where is this going?
So I have always thought of Spotlight. Every time I've gotten to a Spotlight,
Looking to make a cape? Head to Spotlight.
it is trash. It is 60-year-old women. They're not the trash. But just rows of fabric. It's dark. It's like horrible. And
It's no Lin
But
Craft,
you
that's
can-
for damn sure.
There's weird
Craft,
carpet.
overpriced.
overpriced.
But I feel like in either store you can never find what you need.
You can never because it's all just piles of stuff everywhere. Everything feels old and just like covered in dust. It just. I remember the one in Bondi Junction. I walk into it and I'm just like, oh my god, this is just like I cannot wait to get out of here. Anyway, I needed to. It was my son's birthday on Tuesday. It's his party on Saturday. I make the birthday cakes. This year he wants a Lion Guard cake. And
Lion Guard?
Lion Guard is the TV show sequel to The Lion King. It's Kion, who is Nala and Simba's son.
Whoa.
They
Not, no.
fucked?
Oh, wait.
Koi?
Yeah, Nala and Simba. Yeah, sorry.
Whoa.
Corvu?
No, you're thinking
No,
of the White Lion.
no, you're
right?
thinking
of Kimber the White
You're thinking
Lion.
of Kimber the White Lion or Lion King 2 or 3 or something. No, it's okay.
Reaches for phone.
No one
Can't
actually
find
expected you to have this information.
phone. I need to hear where this keeps going.
So he wants a Lion Guard cake. So what I'm
Why does
gonna
he want a fabric
what I'm gonna make is I'm getting there. What I'm gonna make is it's gonna be like a little mountain with a grass top, and Kyan's gonna sit on the top, and there's gonna be other things. And to do this, to really accomplish what I need, it's going to be a fondant based decorative. And I needed a airbrush paint gun. For doing the detail on the rocks and stuff, and
With an edible paint?
with like basically food coloring.
Lead.
And with the lead. He's young, his body can take it.
Yeah.
And I went, well, where am I going to find this? And I looked it up, and Spotlight sell them. I go to Spotlight, they sell a fuckload of baking stuff. It's amazing. There is so much stuff. And when I went to the Spotlight, and now not all Spotlights might be like this, but it is the one near me in Newcastle. It is laid out like an IKEA. It is, you walk in, it's bright, it's sunny, everything is labeled, everything is on shelves. It is organized like modern Kmart. You know how Kmart went
they
through
went
like
to
a
big-
glow up, and
Yep.
now it's fun. I was wandering around going, this place is fucking incredible. And then the baking section is just like huge. And like I love cooking, and so like I'm buying all this stuff. I'm buying air guns and like rolling mats for fondant, and like So this is what I'm going to be doing all day tomorrow. So this is also my way of saying I'm not going to be on Slack at all tomorrow, making a fucking cake for 12 hours. But if you haven't been to your local Spotlight in a while, I would
editing
consider like
No daylight.
I would consider dropping by and have a look.
It's more things than just fabric then.
So they've
Well,
moved
if
into
you look-
homewares. So there's
Got
heaps
it.
of like
That's
cooking, cutlery.
I noticed that
that
when
sort
I
of
went to
stuff.
buy something online and Spotlight was coming up, and I'm like, fabric store?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like that they've
Wow.
glowed up the one section, but in my mind, Nick, I'm picturing still down the end of the aisle is a 6-year-old woman draped in fabrics being, need something with sequin? You're like, no.
Yeah,
that's
totally,
still
yeah.
totally
She's
fabric,
like she's like the woman in the Elden Ring who stands next to the fingers.
Your
fingers, let me see them.
They've moved into homewares 10 years ago.
But
right.
they've
they've clearly
cleaned up their act.
Some of them have moved faster than others, because I was
Yeah,
in a
it-
Spotlight in Bondi Junction a year ago, and it
Totally.
was
The Bondi Junction one I've been into, and that one was one
a
of the
fucking
worst
dumpster fire.
dungeons of
Yeah,
all time.
it's terrible.
I think I was in it and I was looking through fabric and a child just stepped out from between rolls of fabric and I was like,
Did a lion come out after it?
how long have you been in there for?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Corvu was Scar's son. That's
Yes.
what I'm thinking of.
Yes,
Lion
yeah.
too.
And if you have kids, Lion Guard is on Disney Plus, and like Banjo has watched that entire series literally like 8 times. So
Cute.
yeah, so the Lion Guard cake is what I'm making tomorrow for Saturday. There'll be pictures on Instagram of how the airbrushing
Document
turned
it
out.
all. I think I was saying Hamish Blake. I think
Airbrushing.
Yeah, that's why I went to Spotlight to buy the airbrush.
Yeah. I think I was saying Hamish Blake, I think, makes ambitious cakes with short turnarounds for his kids.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yes,
document the whole thing. Disaster or success, I'd watch either.
I'll take a picture of the ingredients at the beginning and the cake at the end.
Vlog it.
No fucking way.
Commentary.
I'm
Live
going to be
stream.
screaming.
Cooking stream.
Cooking stream.
Stream
Sponsored by
it.
Spotlight, who I now love. Lit by Elgato.
Elgato.
And
Don't show Steph on screen. No.
What?
Can't say Elgato when Steph's on camera.
but we can
The
say
enemy.
But we can
The
say
enemy.
to-do lists. And so I'll get a to-do list. And what was yours?
brisk walks.
All right, that was the game of life.
Sponsored by brisk walks.
And Jepp.
And Jepp.
And
Who loves a brisk walk down in Tassie, I hear. Every walk is a brisk walk in Tassie. Because of the temperature, not the speed. Ad break too? No, we've had that. Oh no. I have no toilet. Don't pick on me.
I'm delirious with urine. It's backed up all the way to the neck.
I'm up to here with urine.
It's so funny.
Good. Okay. Thank you very much. Miss Silver said, so Nick's advice was go to Spotlight. That's not life advice. It is if you're like me and you were like, I didn't know Spotlight's fucking banger now.
You know,
Your advice
what?
was-
I'm going to go to Spotlight.
That's what I'm saying.
But your
I'm gonna
advice is
walk in there not with any plan.
Get an airbrush.
your advice is go to Spotlight because they may have improved, but they may not have. So go to it and either be
Henry?
disappointed.
Spotlight.
Go to Nick's Spotlight or go to your own and realize it hasn't done the reno and be disappointed with it. Good.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Speaking of people that we've never been disappointed in.
The I have no toilet is going to get clipped.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
That context.
it's not a surprise.
You could be the next blinking white guy. You could be peeing white guy.
Spotlight Penrith looks pretty good.
There you go. It's a
check
date. Thank you very much to the mods for making the Discord and the chat such an incredible place to be. Who are these mods? It's Gat, Syntax Eric, Kit Carnage, Liz Dahlia, Sithcat, Phoenix the Lion, Disturb778, Jex Caboose, What the Shark? What the Shark? I'll tell you what the Shark? All fucking over the game recommendations.
Yeah, I was about to say someone before when we were talking about manually saving games was like, hey, Divinity Original Sin 2 was this game we had to manually save all the time. And I was like, that's right, it was. And I hated it, but I was playing with Shark, who always reminded me to save.
There you go.
So Shark was effectively the autosave, so I didn't have to think
Safe.
about it.
Safe. You should get your headset, or you should have a you should have like a 30-second audio recording that just says save at the top of it,
If it's
and then
on a
put it on
timer-
loop.
If it's on a timer, if it's on a loop like that, if it's a regular
tune it
thing, I'll tune it out.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get
So I
some.
set reminders on my phone all the time, and the reminders that come up every day, ignore.
We will someone in chat will 100% volunteer for a small monetary fee to come to your house and say it to you on a regular basis.
I have audio things, so I can definitely add one as a Nightbot command.
Okay, yeah, that
So I have one just to like an audio thing just to get my attention because I get very engrossed in what I'm doing and then I forget to thank people who, or I'm on my fucking face when I'm playing the game for like 5 minutes and people are like, wow, we'd love to see the game, Steph.
That's my favorite as well. I do that all the time. And it's always the best part of the game.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the back pocket patrons who make this show possible. A huge thanks to our top stitchers. You know who you are and you know who they are. Thanks to their delightful and devilish ads. Wow, I haven't read that for a while.
Devilish.
Throw to Pete with a new read. Go.
All right, here we go. Special thanks to all our patrons. Even the 25 frame one is fucked. It just doesn't like it. Oranishi's Pink Floyd fan, and so am I. Well done. It's another brick in the wall. And we'll come back to that right at the end.
What?
Oh, what a twist.
Mason, not Nathan. Always going downhill because somehow it's south. Slowpong at the crest of a hill of shit. Well done, Slowpong.
No.
You own that hill.
Why?
That's a very dangerous logo, the original one. Akarash. Peg leg for the stinger. I forgot about that. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, second logo ever made.
Yeah, nice touch. Nicritex. Nicritex has apparently 400 cousins. Probably because he's a country bumpkin. I have one.
You have
And
one
you only
cousin?
have one cousin
One cousin.
and no middle name.
Correct.
Are you even part of a
I'm a
family?
human, and as a human, I love boxes. Who doesn't? So go to Boxy Boxes Boxwell. The coastal city! Which one is it? They're all coastal. Because Australia has no cities in the middle of the country, they're all coastal. Which city do you live in?
Suck at Alice Springs.
That's not a city.
That's town.
Big town.
Vegas! We get to the big town.
Suck it, Canberra.
Suck it, Canberra. Yeah, it's not a city as well, is it? It's a fake town they made because Sydney and Melbourne
I
couldn't
think Brisbane's technically
stop fighting.
coastal as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, close enough.
They've got to pretend.
The Gold Coast is the actual capital of Queensland.
Let's talk more about coastal cities.
The VegaBus is heading to cities that are regional. Hop on board, $10 a ticket. DM VegaBus for the Venmo details. Venmo.
I wish we had
Australian
Venmo here. No, we
We don't
don't.
have
No,
Venmo.
it's weird.
Hey, Timothy could code it because Timothy's a builder of worlds, and the world's full of money. It's Jepp. He's back. He's back again.
Oh, no.
We already
Taking
said
brisk
enough
walks.
about Jepp. Jepp, you don't really need to know about him. Evil spy boy. Loves a nebula. Loves a pie. He's an evil pie boy, as we learned a couple of weeks ago.
What's the significance of that specific nebula?
I don't know.
It's
Looks
That's their
fecal.
profile picture.
fecal.
We are robots, make excellent controllers, and you know what you can plug your excellent controller into? A dream of a PC.
Oh, very good.
If you like to play controller-based games on high-powered machinery. Toxichog has high-powered machinery crawling out of the top of that book there, and it's his sister.
His sister is a dick.
His sister is a worm dick. Reese Wild is in the cave because he loves rocks. He's a rock star. BuriBuri, cult stuff in a jug.
And finally,
put
shine on, you crazy diamond.
And finally, it's the great gig in the sky.
I have a toilet.
I have a toilet.
Peter,
All right.
Fuck.
What?
I love you so much.
Yeah.
But that was awful.
That was great.
That was
No one should be
the-
shamed.
that was actually
ad-libbed or scripted. None of the post-show.
How long did you spend writing yours?
Yeah, because there was passion in it. Passion.
No,
true passion.
the only reason that you didn't like that is because he, for the entire 12 and a half minutes that took, he did not break eye contact with you. That's why it was uncomfortable, because it
both
was
of
just
you.
like, you're right, it did flip between, but it really, I enjoyed it.
Look, I'm not quick.
I'm not a quick
I would
man.
say
Clip
that's
that.
I would say that's not true. I'd say you're very quick. I'd say you're very quick.
I think I treated it with the air of dignity that it deserved after being thrown that thing.
I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the show.
Keep giving it to him then.
I
If
did,
fucking wants
I did ask last week, I was like,
listening to it.
I was like, should we cut this segment down in length? Because it goes on. It's not even a segment. It's just like shout out at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, should we cut it down? And then
quick
the
and
agreement
fuck
was,
life.
it's definitely too long, but that's actually what it's supposed to be. So we're kind of stuck with it now, and it's just this free form of like, you know what it's like? It's not as good as this, because this is an actual good idea, but it's like those podcasts where they're like, we watch this one Kevin James film every week for a year and make a podcast directly afterwards. And it's like, what can you find after 48 weeks of watching this one bad movie? What can you find to talk about?
Of all the things that are like that,
Yep.
Guy Montgomery, who's a Kiwi comedian,
Yep.
He's hilarious.
very funny guy. He did a thing with some mates. They watched Ninja Turtles.
The live action.
The
80s
live
film.
action.
maybe
no, it was
something
I think
else.
I thought it was the modern Ninja Turtles by Exploity Dude. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they watched the modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles inside a
Bunk or
basement in New York City. I think it was 7 times a day, 3 days straight. And they're just in a bunker ordering just
That's
pizza.
right. That's right.
Just pepperoni pizza.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that was a pilot that never went to air.
I would love to do that.
I would, yeah. Me
I
too.
would love to.
Talk about
Wait,
it, yeah.
you would or you wouldn't?
I would love to do that also.
Yeah, I think that could be a stretch goal for
We're
our
wearing
like.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah,
fucking
I'm
shirt.
fucking
What the hell?
representing, boy.
Wait, did he get changed?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pants and everything. You didn't even notice.
No, good work.
Think of another show that I would prefer. What is a food-based show that I could watch that would?
You don't want to be
You
interested.
could watch
in the
Nigella
thing.
Lawson's.
You have to watch the same
Series.
thing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's the
So I
point.
could watch
It's-
Nigel Lawson's show in a beautiful UK kitchen
Yeah.
eating trifle.
But you'd have to watch the same
episode on loop. That's the point. It's the maddening repetition of watching the same thing, enjoying it, then hating it, then finding it funny, then hating it again, then loving it, then going mad.
Yeah, because that's the point. It's the repetition. It's watching the same thing
think it
over
would
and
be-
over
I think
again,
it would be
enjoying it,
great.
and then
I
hating
think
it,
I
and then
would
going
find
mad.
nuance and weird like Illuminati shit, and then I would find like joy and sorrow and passion.
There you go.
Well, absolutely, that's the
Desire.
point. Because the whole point is to watch it.
Repetition. It's to find
Not
it funny and
cheesy
then not funny
things.
again and then go mad. Or Anishi.
All right.
My suggestion for that, before we move on,
Yeah.
was that we still haven't done, is to pass that around. We do one each, and then we change.
passing?
No.
No.
As we go down the
One-
list,
one-
and we change and we change the starting person each time. I know
like that.
only
I
has
like
four
it.
or
I like
so
it.
cycles. But
Wait,
we can
what?
start-
That
So-
requires us all to have access to the list, though.
No, what the
Always
fuck?
right.
You don't have access to the list. It's in the rundown.
It's on the screen.
And it's on the
you know what I
screen.
mean? Not everyone has their thing.
How do we know what to say?
Oh,
the words
right.
are written down for us. on the
Wait,
screen.
so
Should we
you're
end this
saying that,
fucking
like,
episode? Holy
you're saying like he,
Oranishi,
Yep.
Akira.
Okay, right, yeah,
Someone
yeah,
next.
yeah, yeah.
Next episode, Steph
Oran-
starts.
okay, yeah,
Then
yeah,
eventually,
sure,
when we do all
sure.
four,
It's a yes and.
baby.
then next time,
Sure,
Oranishi,
baby.
Akira.
Sure,
we go backwards.
baby.
We change the
It's
order.
like a segue game.
We get about 8
I
variants,
like it.
I think.
I like it.
Let's do it next week.
Or maybe more.
The post show is up next, and it's locked behind the paywallsy.
Harry
But it's not
Styles.
going to be behind the paywallsy for too much longer.
What?
Because Wallsy, this is unfortunately Wallsy.
It'll still be paid for, just not behind the paywallsy.
Oh.
Wallsy died.
Could be behind the
Oh,
pay.
what changed?
Could be behind the pay coastal or the
Yeah,
pay
Wallsy's
night
fine.
bond.
Wallsy's fine, everybody. Calm down. Wallsy's fine. No, we've got some spots opening up at that 333 tier. They're actually open now because we've had some people who are like, hey, this was fun. And I definitely got my money's worth. But I'm now jumping down to the other Top Stitch tier. And that's where they are now. So if you're interested in sponsoring a segment, then you can jump up and own the post show or whatever the fuck is that that Jepp has.
Jepp and Woolsey.
Yep, it's the
Which tier is
the
it?
podcast.
Pocket League. There's Jepp's on
Pocket
Pocket League. Jepp's on everything. You
Uh,
can Jepp.
He's the
Oh, and also in the
back chat.
podcast. He's a
back chat. He's the butts.
That's the problem. The names are too similar.
That could be you.
Is it the one where you get a commercial?